Welcome to the fantasy audiobook. Dragon Ball. I, Shenlong, tell me your wish. Chapter 41. Brother, you have to pay attention to, I have to take it seriously too. Son Goku's body also suddenly erupted with bloody red flames, covering his whole body. Before the two people took action, the powerful auras had already collided with each other. A storm emerged instantly and swept across all directions. The white clouds in the sky were blown everywhere. Even under the sky and on the ground, the audience gathered around the ring were affected. They were swept by the wildly dancing wind, and their hair, hats and various debris flew everywhere. It caused riots in the audience. So strong. Brother and Goku's auras have become stronger again, much stronger. When will I be able to keep up with their training pace? Klin and others, their Taoist hearts are on the verge of being broken. Even Piccolo, who has always been arrogant, looked at the two people in the sky at this moment, clenching his fists with a look of reluctance. Brother and Goku, get serious. Bulma pressed the combat power detector to see the two people's combat power at the moment. Didi, Zhang Wei, combat power 18 million, transforms into a humanoid dragon. Son Goku, combat power 22 million, 4 times Kaioken. Okay, Goku, let's start the fight. Zhang Wei waved to Son Goku. Brother, I'll get on it then. Son Goku's figure flashed. He took action first and launched an attack. Immediately, the sound of fierce fists and feet clashing came from the sky. The audience on the ground couldn't see clearly how Zhang Wei and Son Goku fought. Not to mention the audience, even martial arts masters such as Klin could only barely capture some of the afterimages of the battle between Zhang Wei and Son Goku, like ghosts, making it difficult to see the full picture of the fight between the two. It turns out that this is the real battle between top masters. The battle between us is just child's play. Yamcha smiled bitterly at Krillin. HMPH, they are just stronger than me now. I, Piccolo Daimao, am truly invincible. Whether it is Zhang Wei or Son Goku, they will definitely be defeated by me. As long as I defeat them, I will rule the world again. Ha 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 ha. Piccolo clenched his fists tighter, but his face was full of arrogance, and he let out a villain's evil laugh. Zhang Wei and Son Goku played against each other for less than 3 minutes. The sound of the fierce collision of fists and feet that came from the sky suddenly disappeared. The figures of Zhang Wei and Son Goku appeared in the eyes of everyone on the ground again. I saw that Zhang Wei's body had some scars, his clothes were messy due to the battle, and he was no longer as calm as before. On the other hand, Son Goku on the opposite side was unscathed. Goku, I'm so relieved. Zhang Wei stretched out a finger, wiped the blood on the corner of his mouth, took a look, and said happily. Son Goku showed a dissatisfied look. Brother said yes, be serious and show your true strength. Is this interesting? Sorry, I just want to experience fighting at a slight disadvantage. Now that the experience is over, as you wish, I will use all my strength. By the way, Goku, don't tempt me anymore. Use all your strength. In this round, we will decide the outcome in one battle. Quote. Good. Son Goku's eyes lit up. The whole body of the Saiyan Dragon Man also burst out with blood-red energy just like Son Goku. And the blood-red energy that Goku erupted became even more blood-red. In the eyes of Klin and others, the auras of Zhang Wei and Son Goku have become stronger again. Brother and Goku, we have to use all our strength to fight. Bulma exclaimed. Didi, Zhang Wei, combat power 360 million, transformed into a humanoid dragon 20 times Kaioken. Son Goku, combat power 100 million, 20 times Kaioken. As agreed in advance, Qigong waves are not allowed to be used. A few hundred meters apart, the two people, who were going all out, turned into afterimages again, and the fierce clash of fists and feet sounded in the sky again. But in this round, it didn't take long for the two to fight. A figure quickly fell from the sky. It's Son Goku. Goku, Chi-Chi screamed and ran towards the direction where Son Goku fell to the ground. Krillin immediately flew up, caught Son Goku falling from the air and lowered it to the ground. He took out a fairy bean and fed it to Son Goku. Chi-Chi, don't worry about Goku, Krillin has given him the senbei. Bulma comforts a worried Chi-Chi. At this time, Zhang Wei also landed firmly on the ring. Host, declare victory, Zhang Wei said lightly. He wanted to bring the 23rd world number 1 martial arts tournament to an end with his victory. The host wearing sunglasses came back to his senses. "Oh, I announce that the champion of this year's world number 1 martial arts tournament is Zhang Wei. Thank you Zhang Wei and Son Goku for giving us a wonderful battle." The atmosphere at the venue reached a climax. Although the audience couldn't see clearly the specific process of the fight between Zhang Wei and Son Goku, the whole battle took place in the sky, so they couldn't see clearly, but they felt very, very powerful. "I lost. So is this my true strength? He is too strong and I have no power to fight back." Son Goku sighed after eating the fairy beans and reviving with full health. In his eyes, looking at Zhang Wei, there was an increasingly strong fighting spirit. "Goku, do you remember what I said when we first met? You have a tail, which is different from all of us. If you can become a Super Saiyan, you will gain far more power than you have now, even more powerful than me now." Zhang Wei walked off the ring, noticed the fierce fighting spirit in Son Goku's eyes, and smiled at him. "Good. Very energetic. That's it, I'm so satisfied. Super Saiyan." Son Goku was stunned for a moment, and his eyes quickly became firm. "Brother, I must understand the power of Super Saiyan, and then fight you with all my strength." "That's what I thought too." Zhang Wei smiled encouragingly, put a piece of chewing gum in his mouth and chewed it. The stronger Son Goku becomes, his strength will also increase accordingly. In other words, Son Goku is the lower limit of Zhang Wei's strength. In order to give Son Goku the motivation to become stronger, Zhang Weikai suppressed his own combat effectiveness so that Son Goku could surpass him in normal combat effectiveness. Otherwise, for people like Yamcha and Krillin, the gap between their combat effectiveness and their own is too big. Not to mention their motivation to become stronger, their psychological quality is already excellent even if their hearts are not broken. Alas, I can only say that it is too difficult for Earthlings in the Dragon Ball world. By the way, brother, how can I train to become a Super Saiyan? Son Goku touched the back of his head, thought for a while, and suddenly smiled innocently and asked Zhang Wei for advice. "Super Saiyan, I don't know this very well. I only know that you can only become a Super Saiyan when you are extremely angry." Zhang Wei spread his hands and said, "Do you need to be extremely angry to transform into a Super Saiyan?" "Ah, this. Extremely angry. With Son Goku's character, it's really hard for me, Fat Tiger." Seeing Son Goku's expression of difficulty in transforming into a Super Saiyan, Zhang Wei subconsciously looked at Klin next to him. "Brother, Goku is having trouble transforming into a Super Saiyan. What do you think I'm going to do?" Krillin asked inexplicably. "Nothing." Zhang Wei withdrew his gaze. After the 23rd World Number 1 martial arts tournament, although Son Goku did not win the championship, he somehow got a wife. Chi-Chi has a strong desire to be with Son Goku. Following Son Goku back to Satu Bulma's home, not long after she made a request to marry Son Goku. Son Goku doesn't know what marriage is, but that doesn't stop him from agreeing. As the eldest brother of Son Goku, Zhang Wei is very concerned about Son Goku's marriage to Chi-Chi. He asked Son Goku, "After you and Chi-Chi get married, where will you settle down?" In the plot, Goku and Chi-Chi settle down in the countryside after getting married, and the couple live a pastoral life of self-reliance. However, in this world where Zhang Wei intervened in the plot, Son Goku looked confused and then kicked the question back to Zhang Wei. "Do you want to settle down after getting married?" "I don't know. Brother, it's you who make the decision." "Goku, I don't think it's better. You and Chi-Chi can follow me in Bulma and live in Exedu. This way, when you want to practice, you can easily go to Bulma's 100 times gravity room to practice at any time." Zhang Wei very thoughtfully explained his arrangements for Son Goku and Chi-Chi. "Brother, I listen to you." When Son Goku heard this, his eyes lit up. Zhang Wei's arrangement was too to his liking. For a training madman like Son Goku, he can't bear to part with Bulma's 100 times gravity chamber. "Brother, Goku and I live in Exedu, of course. But the house." Chi-Chi now also follows Son Goku and calls him Big Brother Zhang Wei. At this moment, Chi-Chi looked worried about money. The West is a bustling metropolis where every inch of land is precious. Of course Chi-Chi did not object, and he and Son Goku settled in Exedu. "But I object to the expenses required to settle down." "Chi-Chi, you don't have to worry about this. Since I am Goku's eldest brother, of course I will arrange everything for you. Isn't it just about buying an apartment in Exedu? It's a small matter, whichever apartment you like, I'll buy it for you. Zhang Wei slapped his chest, so proud. For Zhang Wei, the dragon who lived a life of speeding up to Vegeta. Money has never been an issue. Then thank you, brother. Chi-Chi beamed. Goku, he has a good big brother. A few days later, Zhang Wei bought Son Goku and Chi-Chi a large villa not far from Bulma's house, and let Son Goku and Chi-Chi move in. Got a house. The marriage of Son Goku and Chi-Chi is also on the agenda. While preparing for the wedding of Son Goku and Chi-Chi, Zhang Wei really didn't expect that Chi-Chi's behavior of looking for Goku and taking the initiative to get married would actually encourage Bulma. Finally, Bulma gathered her courage. This night, Bulma looked shy and pulled Zhang Wei into her boudoir. Zhang Wei didn't expect Bulma to be so bold, but when things came to a close, and a man's dignity was on the line, he couldn't back down. Pants are superfluous at this moment. When Zhang Wei put on his pants again the next day, he looked at Bulma's radiant face, who had fallen asleep due to exhaustion last night, and a look of love appeared on her handsome, mature and steady face. To this day, Zhang Wei still remembers that Bulma's nails were very sharp at that time. If it weren't for his strong fighting power, Zhang Wei's back had been broken by Bulma's nails. Now that things have come naturally, Zhang Wei is not the second child of Bei. When he met Dr. Breve, he immediately proposed to marry Bulma. Dr. Breve readily agreed to the marriage of Zhang Wei and Bulma. After discussing with Mrs. Breve, arrangements were quickly made. When Bulma knew that her parents approved Zhang Wei's marriage to her, her pretty face was filled with a happy and sweet smile. Zhang Wei is all about efficiency. At his suggestion, his wedding to Bulma might as well be held on the same day as Son Goku's wedding to Chi-Chi. Under Mrs. Breve's arrangement, the wedding of the two couples was scheduled for an auspicious day next month. The wedding day arrived. Son Goku dressed as the groom and awkwardly entertained the guests who came to congratulate him, but they were actually acquaintances. Klin was very envious and said to Son Goku, "Goku, you are already married, why can't I be like you and have a girl as good as Chi-Chi come to my door to marry me?" The eldest brother also has Bulma, and even Yamcha, although he is not married, he goes out to fool around when he has time, he is a playboy and he changes girlfriends one after another. Alas, it seems that from now on I can only hug the green-faced Piccolo to keep warm. Quote. Hearing Krillin complaining that he was not lucky enough, Goku could only pat him on the shoulder and comfort him somehow. Krillin, you are my little brother. As the eldest brother, I will not allow you to be a bachelor. If you fall in love with a girl, just tell the eldest brother. Zhang Wei saw Klin and Goku together and came over. After listening to their conversation, he patted Klin on the shoulder and laughed heartily. Brother. Klin looked at Zhang Wei with gratitude on his face. While the wedding is going on, looking at Zhang Wei, who was dressed as the groom, and Bulma, who was wearing a white wedding dress, standing together, the blonde Lan Chi, who appeared at some point, saw this scene in her eyes, and her eyes revealed that she would never give up. After marriage, under Zhang Wei's leadership, the two newlyweds went out for their honeymoon all over the world. A few months later he returned to Exedu, Dr. Gero's secret laboratory. Zhang Wei, while you were on your honeymoon, my research was successful. According to the ideas you provided, as well as the research materials provided to me, as well as the artificial human experimental data conducted by me from another world, I finally developed the super life form that fuses all the cells together, the artificial human cell. Dr. Gro stood in front of a glass jar filled with culture fluid and proudly introduced Zhang Wei. Zhang Wei looked at the glass jar in front of him seriously. In the culture fluid inside the jar, there was a small, green creature's embryo floating. In the plot, Dr. Gero develops artificial humans, which actually takes 3 routes. A highly intelligent robot born from scratch, based on human beings, half human and half machine transformed people. Both types of mechanical artificial humans require the use of eternal energy furnaces or energy absorption devices. There is also a third category of artificial humans. The product of life science, an artificial life form was born by successfully merging the genes of many masters. But in this Dragon Ball world where Zhang Wei intervenes in the plot, Zhang Wei suggested that Dr. Gru focus on robots and artificial life forms in life sciences. The idea of transforming humans into half-human, half-machine was completely abandoned. Because Zhang Wei had a better idea, and he looked down upon the cyborgs. However, super life form artificial humans like Zhang Wei and Shalu require a long cultivation cycle in order for the cells of masters from different species to be successfully fused together. And how many years does it take to cultivate it to be successful? Even my computer cannot answer this question. Quote. After Dr. Gro's excitement subsided, he sighed and started talking about the flaws of the android cell again. Time-consuming. Dr. Gro, please leave cell to me to cultivate. I can solve the problem of cell's cultivation cycle being too long. When Zhang Wei heard this, he thought of the spiritual time house that he had jointly renovated with Dr. Briff and Bulma. Now it was time for the spiritual time house to be put to use. A year in the spiritual time room is equal to a day in reality. Then, just over 20 days passed. It was still in Dr. Gero's secret experiment, when Dr. Gero once again saw cellulose soaked in a glass jar. Shalu has become an adult. Probably because, as in the plot, there are no cells from the Fusion King, but cells from superpowers such as fusion rabbits and dumplings. Sharu's adult body is not as tall as in the plot and looks very petite. And due to Zhang Wei's interference, there is no tail behind him to absorb human evolution. It looks much smaller than the original cell, but not as ugly as the first stage of the original cell. On the contrary, it looks green and a little cute. Zhang Wei, how did you do it? Dr. Gero looked at the adult Sharu, his mouth wide open, and then there was ecstasy in his eyes. After burning countless scientific research funds and spending a lot of time, we were able to produce an artificial man with powerful combat effectiveness in the early stage. Zhang Wei told Dr. Gro that he, Dr. Briff and his wife Bulma spent several months renovating the spiritual time house. It turns out to be the spiritual time room. Dr. Gero nodded. This spiritual time room is too magical. He will come to study it someday. Dr. Gro, the time has come to witness our hard work. It's up to you to release Cellule. Zhang Wei looked at the glass jar and said to the sleeping Shalu. Dr. Gero nodded to Zhang Wei, and with the feeling of finally succeeding, he entered instructions into the computer to release Cellule from the glass jar. As the culture fluid gurgled, it was discharged from the glass jar. Sharu opened his eyes, and like a chicken breaking an eggshell, he pushed the glass jar to pieces with one palm, and walked out stepping on the shards of glass. He looked harmless, just looking at Zhang Wei and Dr. Gero standing in front of him with doubtful eyes. There was fear in his eyes when he looked at Zhang Wei. Having raised it for more than 20 years, it only has a combat power of more than 10,000. It seems that without the king's cells, relying only on Saiyan and incomplete Namek cells, this cell is a weakling. Zhang Wei used the combat effectiveness detector to check Shalu's combat effectiveness, and said to Dr. Gro with some disappointment on his face. Dr. Gero looked at Zhang Wei speechlessly. 10,000 combat power is not enough for you. You must know that Piccolo Daimao, who almost destroyed the whole world hundreds of years ago, had less than 300 combat power. Do you still dislike Shalu's combat power of only 10,000? If the Red Ribbon Legion was still there, if they got the current cell, wouldn't they laugh so hard that they would have to crawl out of hell? Zhang Wei looked at Shalu. After all, he had contributed to the birth of Shalu and could not give up easily. He took out the black-skinned carrot transformed by Dales from the system space and kept eating gray, and fed it to the somewhat cute Celu. When Shalu saw the black carrot, his eyes immediately lit up, showing an expression full of appetite. After Zhang Wei gave it the black carrot, Shalu ate the black carrot in his hand into his stomach in a few mouthfuls. Dales, die. The next moment, Sharu's whole body burst out with a powerful momentum, almost sending the old and frail Dr. Gru flying out. Fortunately, Zhang Wei had quick eyesight and quick hands and helped Dr. Gro. Let me see Celu's current combat effectiveness. Zhang Wei pressed the combat power detector. Didi. Shalu. Combat strength is 200,000. Dr. Gro, this artificial human cell is not a failure, it can grow. Zhang Wei smiled at Dr. Gero on the side. Feeling the incomparable power in his body, Shalu smacked his lips without saying anything, and began to reverse his previous attitude, looking at Zhang Wei and Dr. Gero in front of him with greedy eyes. His eyes quickly fell on Zhang Wei. Shalu licked his lips, suddenly appeared in front of Zhang Wei, waved his right hand and touched Zhang Wei's abdomen. Salu, what are you doing? Why don't you get out of here? Dr. Gero was shocked. He didn't expect Cell to attack its creator. Shalu ignored Dr. Gro's instructions and looked at Zhang Wei, who was also looking at it, with a strong appetite in his eyes. Shalu, who has rabbit cells fused into his body, naturally has the superpower of a rabbit. After eating a black carrot, Shalu tasted the sweetness and was driven by instinct to turn the powerful Zhang Wei into a carrot. Eat it to improve your strength. Dr. Gro, this artificial man you created is not under your control. Zhang Wei teased Dr. Gro. Ah, this. Dr. Gro's old face is so embarrassing. Shalu looked at Zhang Wei with confusion in his eyes. Why hasn't this person turned into a carrot that is delicious and can increase his strength? What strength do you have? What strength do I have? You want to turn me into a carrot, you want to eat shit. Zhang Wei raised his hand and gave Shalu a slap on the head. After a puff of white smoke, Shalu turned into a green carrot. Thank God, Zhang Wei, you're fine. Seeing Zhang Wei kill the out-of-control Shalu, Dr. Gero breathed a sigh of relief. Zhang Wei is Dr. Gero's only confidant, and Dr. Gero really doesn't want anything to happen to Zhang Wei. It failed again. This artificial human cell, like the previous failures, did not obey orders. Alas, it seems that it can only be destroyed. Dr. Gero sighed. Why are the artificial humans he created not obedient? He looked very shocked. Don't rush to destroy Cell first. We can deal with the obedience issue of the artificial man slowly. In short, creating a powerful artificial man is something worth celebrating. Seeing that Dr. Gro was dejected, Zhang Wei put the green-skinned carrot that Shalu had turned into the system space, and opened his mouth to encourage Dr. Gro. Zhang Wei, you were right. Even powerful artificial humans have been created. It is not difficult to make the artificial humans obey our orders. Dr. Gro was encouraged and optimistic. Zhang Wei couldn't help complaining in his heart. For you, Dr. Gro, the obedience of artificial humans is a big trouble. Dr. Gero is a genius who develops artificial humans, but he is a mediocre person who controls artificial humans. He was killed by Android 17 in the plot. In the future world in the plot, Dr. Gero did not appear. Presumably, he was killed by the future androids number 17 and 18. Zhang Wei doesn't think Dr. Gro can be counted on to solve the problem of artificial humans having reverse bones. It seemed that he had to figure it out on his own. Zhang Wei thought carefully for a while and thought of a way, so he returned to Bulma's house and found Son Goku, who was practicing hard in the 100 times gravity room. Now that Son Goku has a family and a career, he needs a job to support his wife and children. Zhang Wei took advantage of the situation and established a security department in the name of Wanmian Capsule Company to protect Wanmian Capsule Company. He himself served as the security director. Son Goku, Yamcha, Krillin, all joined this security department and became nominal employees of the Universal Capsule Company. In this way, Zhang Wei can reasonably provide money to support his younger brothers without hurting their self-esteem. It's not like the original plot, where Son Goku works as a farmer, Yamcha plays baseball, and Krillin works as a police officer. Bulma also can't create a pattern, so she leaves her friends to fend for themselves. She obviously doesn't lack money, but she just doesn't know how to recruit them. Join the company and solve their livelihood problems. In disguise, Bulma didn't play the role of a money bag. Others can say that it was just that Son Goku's family was under great pressure to survive. Son Goku, a farmer, spent 3 days fishing and 2 days drying nets. Saiyans eat a lot, and later to raise Son Wufan, all the pressure of life falls on Chi-Chi. It's no wonder that Chi-Chi wants Gohan to be a scholar and raises Gohan to be a Nobita fan. You see, as a scholar, like Bulma's father Dr. Brief, people can become the richest man in the world just by making inventions. Look at your dad again. What's the use of practicing every day? In the end, I can only drive a tractor and work as a farmer, and the money I make is not enough to pay for the food of you two. If it weren't for your mother's natal family, and there was still some property, would it depend on your father? Our family of 3 has been drinking Mistral for a long time. So Chi-Chi was very disgusted and Gohan took the path of Son Goku. Feed yourself first. Think again about saving the world. This is what Chi-Chi thinks in the plot. And Zhang Wei played a role that Bulma in the plot did not. It solves the problem of Son Goku making a living and saves Chi-Chi from having to bear the heavy pressure of life. Naturally, he will not be able to raise Nobi Rice in the future. Just practice well. You can join the security department of the Universal Capsule Company and get a decent job with less work and more money. Brother, what do you want from me? Son Goku stopped practicing and asked. Zhang Wei transformed into a human-shaped dragon. Brother, do you want to compete with me? I feel that my strength has improved a lot recently. Son Goku said with bright eyes. Since the last 23rd World Number 1 martial arts tournament, Zhang Wei has never fought against Son Goku. Let's discuss the discussion later. Goku, I want you to make a wish to me. Make a wish again. Let me think about it. The last time I made a wish was for Chi-Chi to stay young forever, this time. Don't interrupt me. I want you to make a wish for me and send me to a guy named Captain Ginyu. Zhang Wei corrected. I see. Son Goku nodded. Send brother too. We'll talk about making wishes later. I have something to do. Zhang Wei just received a reminder from Tongzi that there is a parallel world of Dragon Balls. He gathered the projections of 7 Dragon Balls and summoned him. Oh, brother, I'm going back to practice. Come find me again when you come back. Son Goku raced against time to return to the 100 times gravity room. Zhang Wei went to say hello to his wife Bulma again, and then disappeared into a beam of golden light. Another Dragon Ball world. Giant Namek. In the universe, a huge spaceship is slowly approaching Namek. King Cooler, according to the information we received, King Frieza is on this planet, searching for the wishing beads that are said to make all wishes come true. Shawiza's attitude was respectful and he spoke to Universe, who had a lizard tail and 3 toes with his back turned to him. Haha, Frieza is such a good brother of mine. He actually hid such important news from me, the eldest brother, that there is a wishing bead on Namek. If I hadn't secretly monitored the communications of Frieza's Legion, I wouldn't have known that there was a wishing bead that could grant all wishes on such a seemingly uncivilized planet. Quote. Cooler smiled as he observed Namek outside through the porthole. Frieza wants to seize the Dragon Balls on Namek and summon Shenron to fulfill his wish. His brother Cooler got the news, and of course he also coveted the Dragon Balls on Namek. Then he took his troops and chased Frieza to Namek. Then, the Namekians in this world were so unlucky that they ushered in 2 waves of brutal invaders. Shawiza hesitated for a moment, then said, King Cooler, do we really want to do this? Attack Frieza's Legion, this. As long as you can get the wishing beads from Namek, what if you attack my good brother? Just go ahead and do it, I only want the wishing beads. Cooler said with a nonchalant expression. Their clan, known as the Frozen Demons in this world, is naturally indifferent to family ties. In the plot, Frieza received the 7 Dragon Balls, but he had no intention of resurrecting his father, the Kurdish king. It's the Universe Emperor again, at the pinnacle of power. Even the human royal family doesn't care about emotions, let alone the Frozen Demon. Cooler has the idea of stealing things from Frieza even if he goes to war, which is really normal. Understood, Shawiza said respectfully. When I get the wishing bead from my good brother, this Namek planet will also need to be occupied by our Cooler Legion. Then we will search carefully, and maybe we can find a treasure like the wishing bead. Cooler thought for a while and said again. That's all. Frieza came to Namek and slaughtered countless Namekians to steal the Dragon Balls. His good brother Cooler also came to Namek on the back foot to snatch the Dragon Balls from Frieza. For the emergence of Cooler, Frieza was completely unprepared. His men massacred several Namekian villages and snatched the big Dragon Balls, which were then snatched away by the Cooler Legion. Even Frieza's men were killed. This guy Cooler, why is he here? Frieza only got 1 big Dragon Ball in his hand, and he was angry and anxious about his brother's uninvited visit. Cooler restrained Frieza, and the Cooler Legion under his command went free to kill the soldiers of Frieza's Legion, especially the Cooler Mecha troops, killing Frieza's Legion with blood. In order to fight against the Cooler Mecha army, Frieza hurriedly summoned the Ginyu team to come for reinforcements. By the time the Ginyu team arrived, the Cooler Corps had already occupied the entire Namekian planet, killing almost all the Namekians and Frieza's corps. Frieza is also missing. Ginyu, who was loyal to Frieza, was constantly under siege by the Cooler Legion, searching for his king everywhere on Namek. At last, a dying Frieza was found in a cave on Namek. Frieza at this time, it is no longer the first form of sitting in a stroller, but the final form of having a glutinous rice ball head. Obviously, Frieza had already fought with Cooler, lost, and had one arm and one leg broken. Became a cripple. King Frieza is seriously injured. If our spaceship is still there, we can use the treatment cabin to rescue King Frieza. But our spaceship has been blown up by those fools from the Cooler Legion. What can I do? Save King Frieza. Seeing that the king was in danger, Ginyu looked worried. Now, Ginyu's situation isn't good either. 4 team members also died in battle during the previous search for the king. In the Ginyu Special Forces, Ginyu is the only leader left. Even the armored battle suit worn by Ginyu himself was damaged in many places. This was the result of a fierce battle with the Cooler Mecha unit. By the way, I also found this thing while searching for King Frieza. Ginyu was anxious when he suddenly thought of something and took out a Dragon Ball that was much smaller than the Namek Dragon Ball. The wishing beads on Namek are much bigger than this. Maybe this mini wishing bead is just a toy of the natives of Namek, but I can't care about that much now. Ginyu could only take a gamble, take out 7 mini Dragon Balls, and go outside the cave to summon the dragon. In an instant, there were lightning and thunder in the sky of Namek, as if the oppressive feeling of the end of the world had descended on Namek. What's going on? Look at this strange phenomenon in the sky. Someone gathered the wishing beads and summoned the dragon. But haven't all the wishing beads been used by me and turned into stones, and can't be used again in the short term? Could it be that the Namekians are not telling the truth? Thinking of this, Cooler was in a bad mood and ordered his men to immediately bring in the captured Namekians for questioning. When Cooler brutally interrogated the captured Namekians because of unwarranted questions, a green dragon that was over 100 meters long appeared between the heaven and earth of Namek. Why is the environment here so similar to Namek? It's interesting, this time I was summoned by someone from an alien planet. Zhong Wei's huge dragon eye was sizing up the surrounding environment as soon as it came out. King Frieza, please hold on, I will come to save you right away. Ginyu returned to the cave at this time and carried the unconscious Frieza to Zhong Shenlong. Say your wish, and this dragon will make it come true for you. Zhong Wei also saw Ginyu and Frieza at this time, and felt very strange. Considering the surrounding environment, the timeline of this parallel world of Dragon Ball should be the Namek chapter. But, Frieza was crippled. Captain Ginyu also looked embarrassed. It's different from the plot. Shenron, restore King Frieza to health. Ginyu shouted. It's very simple. Zhong Wei raised the dragon's claw and snapped his fingers. Ginyu's wish was fulfilled and the king was resurrected with full blood. I sighed in my heart, Ginyu is really Frieza's loyal fool, and I don't blame Frieza for forcing himself to blush and watch Ginyu and his gang dance every time for so many years. Ding, get the teleportation object. Ding, get a body swap. Ding, get the air bomb. King Frieza, are you awake? Ginyu was pleasantly surprised, and Zhong Great Divine Dragon has turned into 7 golden rays of light and flew in all directions of Namek. Captain Ginyu, I will never forget your loyalty to me, oh. Frieza was alive again, looking at Ginyu and letting out his signature devilish laugh. But when he thought about Cooler snatching his wishing bead and severely injuring himself, Frieza couldn't laugh anymore, and his face was filled with hatred for Cooler. Cooler, I won't let you go. Frieza's face twisted and he roared. As the Emperor of the Universe, Frieza was beaten so badly for the first time in his life, and it was also the first time he knew about it. His father is not as strong as him, he is really not as strong as him. His brother is not as strong as him, but he hides his strength. In front of Cooler, the Universe Emperor is a joke. King Frieza, we will talk about revenge against King Cooler later. Now, we have to leave here quickly. King Cooler's men are everywhere here, and we are not safe. Ginyu said in a protective posture. I am not willing to let Frieza run away in despair like a lost dog. Frieza said to Ginyu with anger on his face. Ginyu looked anxious and was about to persuade his boss to be sensible. King Frieza, I have a way for you to defeat Cooler and get revenge now. A 3-meter-tall Cyan Dragon man suddenly appeared and spoke to the king in a neither humble nor arrogant manner. Who are you? Ginyu was shocked and immediately protected Frieza behind him and asked cautiously. Ginyu, you were making a wish to me just now, why don't you recognize me now? Zhang Wei walked up to Frieza and Ginyu and said to Ginyu. You are the dragon, Ginyu exclaimed. Oh ho ho ho, Mr. Shenlong, tell me, what can you do to enable me to take revenge on my dear brother Cooler right now? Frieza asked Ginyu to step back, looked at the much taller Cyan Dragon Man, and asked with interest. King Frieza, please look. Zhang Wei first bowed to Frieza, and then summoned the Son Goku clone he obtained after realizing Son Goku's wish. As you, King Frieza, can see, this is a Saiyan body with powerful power. It can transform into a Super Saiyan under extreme anger. Although it is certainly not as many as you, King Frieza, have practiced. Queen Moon's strength, but if it's just for revenge against Cooler, this body is enough. The body of a Saiyan monkey. The king looked at the clone grandson Goku with disdain. However, if it allows me to take revenge on my good brother, even if I use the body of a Saiyan monkey, it doesn't matter. Captain Ginyu, please excuse me. Frieza said to Ginyu again. Frieza hated Cooler to the extreme and was furious. Frieza's anger was noticed by Zhang Wei and he felt it was worth using. King Frieza, please forgive my offense to you. Exchange. After Ginyu first apologized as a subordinate, he immediately activated his ability, first changing his body with his clone Goku, and then changing his body with Frieza. Oh ho ho ho, this Saiyan monkey body has the ability to transform into the legendary Super Saiyan. It really surprises me. So, Mr. Shenlong, what is your intention? After moving his new body, Frieza suddenly asked Chiang Kai-shek. King Frieza, I need your talent to activate the power of Super Saiyan in this body. You also need the power of Super Saiyan to take revenge on Cooler, don't you? Zhang Wei smiled. Oh, Mr. Shenlong, you are very candid, I like it. Frieza used Gokong's body, showing a cold expression, looking at the calm Chang Shenron, and suddenly let out his signature devilish laughter. Zhang Wei and Frieza formed an alliance that was not an alliance. Frieza, like Piccolo, has a very arrogant personality and takes his status as the Emperor of the Universe very seriously. Therefore, as the majestic Emperor of the Universe, alliance, it is impossible to form an alliance. No one is qualified to be the ally of the Universe Emperor. Zhang Wei understands that the king has such an arrogant character, so he keeps silent about words such as help and alliance, which will make Frieza angry, and on the surface, he gives Frieza enough face. Frieza then acquiesced. Zhang Wei was his ally, and he would act in accordance with the alliance's requirements. King Frieza, please get familiar with this Saiyan's body first. During this period, I will send my men to clean up Cooler's soldiers for you. Zhang Wei had a smile on his face, and the 3-meter-tall Cyan Dragon Man even deliberately made a gesture to seek Frieza's opinion. Oh, Mr. Shenlong, I will ask Captain Ginyu and your men to kill my good brother's men together. Frieza's eyes flashed coldly. King Frieza, it's my pleasure. Ginyu said loyally. King Frieza is just cleaning up Cooler's subordinates. Why do we need Ginyu to take action? Are they worthy? This subordinate of mine is enough. Zhang Wei opened his mouth and came. Mr. Shenlong, let's wait for the good news from your subordinate. Frieza thought about it, and it was right. Ginyu was his #1 general, and he was extremely loyal to him. It was too cheap to send him out to clean up the trash under his big brother. Under the watchful eyes of Frieza and Ginyu, Zhang Wei summoned the clone Piccolo Daimao, spit out an egg, and hatched a little green skin with a combat power of only 10. Frieza and Ginyu have questions on their heads. No. Although it is just to clean up Cooler's men, those soldiers who are not worth mentioning. But these miscellaneous soldiers, after all, have thousands of fighting capabilities. How can the ridiculously weak Namekian spit out and an even more ridiculous little green skin be able to clean them up? After the little green skin was born, he first turned his attention to the clone Piccolo Daimao, and then immediately turned his attention to Zhang Wei, and his attitude was extremely respectful. See you, my subordinates, the great demon king Zhang Wei. Zhang Wei knew that although this green skin was born by his clone Piccolo Daimao, the green skin could distinguish between the big and small kings and knew that his real master was Zhang Wei. Your name is Shalu. Zhang Wei took out a green carrot from the system space, clapped his palms, and after a puff of white smoke, he turned back into Sharu. Exchange. After Shenlong fulfilled Ginyu's wish, he also obtained Ginyu's superpowers. He first changed his body with Cell, then changed his body with the little green skin, and then changed back again. That's all. The little green skin became Cellule. Shalu became a little green skin. Zhang Wei raised his hand and made a qigong wave, beating the little green skin Sharu who had a bone in his body until nothing was left. Then he said to Sharu, who was standing in front of him with a respectful look on his face, Shalu, go ahead, go ahead. Freely hunt coolers meant to enhance your own power. Yes, Demon King Zhang Wei. Shalu followed the order and started to lick his lips. Take this scene into consideration. Ginyu was surprised and confused. How can that Shenlong know my unique skill of changing bodies? Frieza looked at Zhang Shenlong, his eyes thoughtful. King Frieza, please get familiar with this Saiyan body as soon as possible. Zhang Wei sensed that Cell had already fought with the Cooler Legion soldiers who came to conduct reconnaissance, and said to Frieza again. Oh ho ho ho, I will master this body as soon as possible, Mr. Shenlong. Frieza smiled evilly. Other side. After Shalu left Zhang Shenlong and others, he ran into many small soldiers of the Cooler Legion. Is it you who summoned the dragon? A leading soldier looked at the petite green-skinned Shalu and shouted rudely. When Cooler discovered that someone had summoned Chiang Kai-shek, he not only interrogated the captured Namekians, but also sent a large number of men to investigate the direction in which the dragon appeared. Shalu didn't answer. He just looked at the soldiers with a strong appetite in his eyes. The next moment, Shalu flashed his figure and was face to face with the soldier in an instant. Before the other man had time to react, he reached out and patted him on the shoulder. This soldier is also a kind of universe person with a slender body and big eyes, so the petite Cellule can also pat him on the shoulder. After a puff of white smoke, the soldier is gone. A carrot appeared, and Shalu took it in his hand, put it into his mouth and ate it in 2 bites. Didn't improve much strength. The taste is average. Better than nothing. He saw his companion being turned into a carrot by a green skin that appeared, chewed it up and ate it. All the soldiers of the Cooler Corps were horrified to see it. What kind of monster are you? You know, we are soldiers under King Cooler. If you dare to eat us, King Cooler will not let you go. There was another tall and thin universe soldier with trembling lips. Shalu turned him into a carrot and ate it in small bites. Hurry up and ask for help from the Cooler Mecha unit. Let me see the combat effectiveness of this greenskin. A brave soldier stood up and said. Didi. The data on the combat effectiveness detector, after being refreshed for a while, exploded. The combat power detector used by ordinary soldiers of the Cooler Corps is the same model as the soldiers of the Frieza Corps. The upper limit of detection combat power is only over 20,000. As for Sharu, he has a combat power of 200,000, which far exceeds the upper limit of their combat power detector. All the Cooler Legion soldiers took a breath. The strongest one among them has a combat power of over 3,000. How can he fight against Cellule, who has explosive combat power? Run! The many Cooler Legion soldiers who were frightened by Cell's combat power were about to disperse in a hurry. Shalu, who was chewing the 4th carrot, had no intention of letting them go and immediately caught up with them. Soon, Shalu harvested a bunch of carrots and ate them with relish. As carrots continued to be eaten by Cellu's strength is also steadily improving. In the plot, Cell, the Earthlings who rely on the dregs of war, can improve their combat effectiveness all the way to the point where they can handle Android 17. Today's Cellulace is fed by soldiers from the Cooler Legion. The weakest soldier has a combat power of over 1,000. Sharu has only one thought, eat. Increase his strength and serve his creator, the great demon King Zhang Wei. After eating the last carrot, Shalu raised his head and looked towards the sky. There were 3 universe people flying towards him. 3 delicious carrots that are far more powerful than the carrots before. Seeing the 3 members of the Cooler Mecha unit who had received the message and came for reinforcements, Cellule's mouth was watering with greed. Suddenly, Cellu rolled his eyes, revealed a sly look, and took the initiative to fly towards the Cooler Mecha unit. At this time, Shawiza and the other 3 also discovered Shalu, and also noticed that the Cooler Legion soldiers who had sent them distress signals had disappeared. Captain Shawiza, our soldiers were probably wiped out by this green-skinned guy. Nez said, what kind of madman dares to go against our Cooler Legion? He doesn't look like the Namekians or King Frieza's men. Shuiza looked at Sharu flying towards them and said with some doubts. Let me see his fighting ability. Shuiza showed his cautious side, no wonder he can be the captain. Didi, unknown. Combat strength 100,000. Shaviza. Combat strength 170,000. Nez. Combat strength 163,000. Dre. Combat strength 185,000. No wonder he has the guts to kill the soldiers of our Cooler Legion. This guy has a combat strength of 100,000. Although he is far inferior to our Cooler Mecha army, he is still a rare master. Shuiza said with a relaxed smile. You must know that the number of masters with more than 100,000 combat power, including Frieza's Legion and Cooler's Legion, can be counted on one hand. In fact, its combat power exceeds 10,000, which is already a very rare creature in the universe. That greenskin, you have 100,000 combat power, not bad. I believe King Cooler also welcomes talents like you to join his command and serve for him. In this way, we will forgive your sin of killing Cooler Legion soldiers. What do you think? Shuiza saw Sharu flying closer and began to recruit talents for his boss. What responded to him was Cellul's greedy expression full of appetite. Didi, unknown. Combat strength 100,000, 150,000, 200,000. Boom. The three of Shuiza, together with Ginyu, who had already noticed the situation here, their new combat power detectors almost exploded at the same time. 200,000 combat power is the upper limit of their new combat power detector. No, this guy is hiding his strength. Shuiza and the other three looked horrified. But now I realize that it's too late. Shalu and them are very close. After a few seconds, Shalu had 3 more carrots in his hand and ate them with relish. King Frieza, Mr. Shenron's subordinate named Cell, can actually turn people into carrots and eat them to increase his strength. Ginyu glanced at Zhang Shenlong, who looked normal, and said to Frieza in shock. Frieza actually showed some surprise, because although he is not a good person, he is cruel, murderous, and likes to use planets to set off fireworks, but he can't eat people. But Frieza had an evil smile on his face. Captain Ginyu, don't make a fuss and embarrass me in front of Mr. Shenron. King Frieza, I'm sorry. Ginyu immediately admitted his mistake to his boss. I am already familiar with this Saiyan monkey's body. Frieza said to Zhang Wei again. Then the 3 of them flew into the sky and flew towards Cooler's direction. At this time, Cooler had also discovered that the soldiers he sent out had lost contact with the Cooler Mecha unit, and it was obvious that they had been killed. No matter who dares to go against me, Cooler, the only outcome will be death. Cooler also flew into the sky with a cruel look on his face, wanting to take the initiative. Then, in the air, the 2 sides met. It was only then that the cunning Sharu thought that the opportunity had come, and immediately ran to Cooler's camp, where there were a lot of carrots waiting for him to eat. Ginyu, where did you get the courage to stand in front of me instead of running away with my dear brother? Just because you found a Saiyan monkey and a big green skin from nowhere. Quote. Cooler had an expression on his face that said, Ginyu, there is a way to heaven but you don't take it, and there is no door to hell and you break in. He smiled evilly. After changing Frieza into the body of Goku's clone, Ginyu didn't dare to take over his boss's body, so he quickly changed it back to his universe body with the same skin color as Thanos. Looking over Frieza's body in Ginyu's arms, Cooler felt strange. His good brother had been crippled in the previous battle, but now his hands and feet seemed intact, as if he had not been injured. So, it was you who found other wishing beads on Namek, summoned the dragon, and saved my good brother. Cooler's intelligence was also online, and he quickly figured it out, and said to Ginyu. Oh ho ho ho, my good big brother, please accept your brother's greetings to you. Frieza suddenly laughed devilishly. Taking advantage of Cooler's daze, he swayed and kicked Cooler in the face with a spinning kick, causing Cooler to tilt his head and fly backwards. Zhang Shenlong, who was on the side, was posing as if he were watching a show. Didi, Frieza. Combat power 11 million using Son Goku body. Cooler. 200 million combat power. Ginyu. Combat power 120,000. Ginyu on the side was full of surprise. Mr. Shenlong, your combat power detector can still work normally. Look at Cooler again. He was not paying attention for a moment, and Frieza, who was occupying the body of Goku's clone, kicked him in the face. Although it did not break his defense, it was extremely insulting. He raised his hand and touched the place where he was kicked on the face. Cooler had a sullen face and anger burning in his eyes. This laughter, you are Frieza. I understand, you use your Ginyu, the same Saiyan monkey-swapped bodies. My stupid brother, do you really think that you can rely on the power of the legendary Super Saiyan to defeat your elder brother? Impossible, absolutely impossible. Zhang Wei was a little surprised. Isn't this Cooler too smart? He figured out the cause and effect so quickly. Could it be that these villain bosses who can do evil in the universe are not only strong in strength, but also have very good brains? Otherwise, do you really think that King Frieza and his family can become the rulers of the universe and conquer a large territory just by relying on their strong power? Ginyu looked at Frieza, who was confronting Cooler in the field, and said to Zhang Wei with admiration on his face. I admit, I do underestimate the intelligence of these bosses who can do mischief in the universe. Zhang Wei confessed to Ginyu. Oh ho ho ho, my dear brother, don't jump to conclusions so quickly. Frieza smiled evilly. The clone Goku's normal combat power is not as good as Frieza's original body. So Frieza can adapt quickly. But this way he can't defeat his good brother and avenge his shame. Frieza needs more power. The legendary power of Super Saiyan. In Frieza's mind, images emerged of him being defeated by Cooler before and having one of his hands and one of his feet broken off. Ah! With an angry roar, a strong wind blew around Frieza, golden arrogance erupted all over his body, his hair turned golden, and his eyes turned green. At a glance, it looks like the whole person is burning with golden flames. Relying on his anger towards his good brother Cooler, Frieza used the body of his clone grandson Goku to successfully transform into Super Saiyan 1. Haha, great. Zhang Wei's dragon face was full of joy and he pressed the combat power detector again. DD, Frieza. Combat power 500 million and 500 million, use Goku's body and transform into Super Saiyan 1. Unparalleled power. Frieza looked intoxicated. The Cooler on the other side looked extremely ugly. Super Saiyan, isn't it a legend? How is it possible? My brother, eldest brother, I have to admit that you shocked me. So, I have to use all my strength to fight against the power of the Super Saiyan. Cooler's face was solemn. Aha! Cooler shouted, and purple light instantly enveloped him. When the purple light dissipates, Cooler also turned into his true and strongest final form. Wearing an exoskeleton and a mask, it looks like a combat creature. DD, Cooler. Combat power 470 million, final form. Frieza had an evil sneer on his face. That's it. If this is all your power, brother, I can only say that today is the day you die. As soon as he finished speaking, Frieza's fist was like a shell fired from a heavy artillery, hitting Cooler's prepared face hard. Looking at this posture, he will strike without mercy. He really wants to kill his good brother. And Cooler has no doubt that his good brother will kill his eldest brother. For the father of the two brothers, the Kurdish king, only the strongest son is the one who can be beaten to death and is not worthy of being the son of the Kurdish king. Cooler received a punch and was instantly knocked away. His body was like a meteor, slamming into a nearby mountain. Now, Cooler was blasted into the mountain, and his expression was no longer the same as before. He looked at Frieza, who was slowly approaching, with a ferocious look on his face. Cooler, who refused to sit still and wait for death, broke away from the mountain and faced it again. Frieza and Cooler engage in a fierce fist fight in the air. This level of fighting is no longer something Ginyu and a young Kurami can see clearly. In Ginyu's eyes, except for the noise caused by the fierce battle between his boss and Cooler, he couldn't even see the two figures. Ginyu looked at Zhang Wei again, and saw that his eyes were always moving with purpose, and he knew that Zhang Wei could clearly see the scene of the battle between Frieza and Cooler. Then the sound of the fist fight disappeared. The two threw Qigong bombs at each other again, and explosions occurred one after another, quickly raising the mountains, lakes and forests on the ground to the ground. Under Ginyu's horrified eyes, Zhang Wei raised his hand and knocked away a purple Qigong bomb that was aimed at Ginyu. Boom! The purple Qigong bomb that was shot away by Zhang Wei fell on the ground of Namek and exploded a big crater. And Ginyu noticed that in order to blow away the purple Qigong bombs, Zhang Wei's cyan dragon body also erupted with blood-red flames, surrounding the whole body. With Zhang Wei's current strength, even in the form of a humanoid dragon, he still has to fire the Kaioken in order to shoot away the Qigong bombs that hit Qiu. After all, those are hundreds of millions of Qigong bombs with a fighting force that can be fired with real strength. Zhang Wei also needs to be more serious. Thank you, Ginyu said to Zhang Wei. After the two sides exchanged Qigong bombs, the battle finally came to an end. The embarrassed Cooler punched Frieza, who always had an evil smile on his face. Frieza raised his hand to grab him and punched him in the face. He pulled Cooler over and hit Cooler hard with his knee, on the belly. Cooler screamed, opened his mouth to spit out bitter water, and his body bent violently. Then Frieza didn't stop there. He grabbed Cooler with one hand, and with the palm of his other hand gathering powerful energy, he gave his good brother a Qigong bomb, which hit Cooler's face. Cooler was beyond recognition, like a fighter jet shot down by an anti-aircraft gun. He quickly fell to the devastated ground and lay in a large pit unable to move. Oh ho ho ho, my good big brother, I will give you back what you did to me before. After laughing devilishly, Frieza stepped on one of his good brother's hands and one of his feet, and did the same thing as his big brother. Congratulations to King Frieza for your successful revenge. Zhang Wei saw the king beating his brother to a cripple and immediately came forward to greet him. Captain Ginyu, please change me back. Yes, King Frieza, please tolerate my offense in exchange. Ginyu replaced Frieza again, and Zhang Wei also put away the clone grandson Goku. As expected, Frieza, as always, valued his own power more. After beating his brother Cooler to a disability, he gave up the power of Super Saiyan without hesitation and had strong confidence in his own talent. Oh ho ho ho, Mr. Shenron, my Frieza Legion still lacks a commander-in-chief. After moving his original body, Frieza suddenly said to Zhang Wei. I'm sorry, King Frieza. Ginyu summoned me to your world through the 7 Dragon Balls. I can only stay in this world for 24 hours. Zhang Wei pretended to have a regretful expression on his face. Oh ho ho ho, I almost forgot that Mr. Shenlong was summoned. Frieza was suddenly enlightened and laughed devilishly again. Immediately, the alliance between Chiang Kai-shek and Frieza is over. Frieza thought that there was a wishing bead on Namek, so he decided to occupy Namek instead of setting off universe fireworks. If necessary, find the remaining Namekians alive and extract some useful information. The new universe spaceship sent by Frieza's Legion headquarters will also take some time to fly to Namek. Mr. Shenlong, I will take the first step, oh ho ho ho. After Frieza and Ginyu left, Zhang Wei looked at Cooler, who was lying on the ground with his arms and legs broken, and was unconscious, and then at Cell, who had eaten all the Cooler Legion soldiers and returned to his side. Watching Shalu squatting next to Cooler, looking like he was drooling. After thinking about it, he cut off Cooler's tail with a knife, threw it into the system space, and then raised his hand to touch Cooler. A puff of white smoke. Cooler turned into a purple carrot. Zhang Wei fed this purple carrot to Shalu. Thank you so much, Demon King Zhang Wei, for the reward. Shalu was overjoyed. After thanking Zhang Wei, he swallowed the purple carrot in 2 mouthfuls. Cooler, die. Immediately, Cerule pretended to be constipated. A powerful momentum burst out. The earth shook. It's like destroying Namek. Zhang Wei squinted his eyes and used the combat power detector to see Shalu's current strength. Didi, Sharu. Combat power 500 million. Cell has Saiyan cells from Dales and Goku. If Cell can also transform into a Super Saiyan, wow, that's so powerful. Zhang Wei sighed. Then he took Shalu back to his original world. As for Namek in another world, it's not the Namekian in Zhang Wei's world, and Zhang Wei doesn't owe them any favors. Their life and death is none of Zhang Wei's business. After completing this business trip, I got Ginyu's body-changing superpower, solved the problem of Goku transforming into a Super Saiyan, solved the problem of Cell's backbone, and raised Cell to a combat power of 500 million. So cool. After returning, Zhang Wei took stock of the harvest and beamed with joy. Ginyu's body-changing superpower is different from the superpowers of Rabbit, Dumpling, and Blue. It is a soul power. Even if you get the cells of Ginyu's body, you can't get Ginyu's superpower. Moreover, Ginyu's superpower can ignore the gap in combat power between the two sides. As long as the power is activated and hits, it will definitely take effect. So buggy. The speed at which the skill is activated is too slow, and every opponent in the later stage can avoid it. This is equivalent to this very buggy skill, and its practicality in the later stage is zero. However, in Zhang Wei's hands, it can be used to solve the control problems of the powerful artificial man developed by Dr. Gero. Zhang Wei summoned Son Goku and used Ginyu's body-changing superpower to change Son Goku into a clone, and experience the difference between the body that has successfully transformed into a Super Saiyan and the body that has not changed. Son Goku carefully comprehended the changes in his body. Finally, after Son Goku was replaced by Zhang Wei and returned to his original body, golden aura appeared all over his body, his hair also became golden, and he could transform into Super Saiyan 1. DD. Son Goku. Combat power 900 million, transformed into Super Saiyan 1. It needs to be explained that Son Goku's normal combat power is definitely better than that. On Namek in another world, Zhang Wei provided Frieza with a clone of Son Goku to take revenge on Cooler. What a powerful power. Brother, it turns out this is the power of Super Saiyan. Son Goku stared at Zhang Wei with an excited expression. Brother, I feel my blood is burning. Let's have a fight. Happy to accompany you. Zhang Wei smiled. How can anyone transform into a Super Saiyan for the first time and not start fighting? The next moment, Zhang Wei first transformed into a humanoid divine dragon, and then the same golden aura enveloped Zhang Wei's body. To this, Son Goku was extremely surprised. Brother, you can also become a Super Saiyan. But now you are a dragon, not a Saiyan. Goku, your eldest brother is a divine dragon, omnipotent. Zhang Wei said proudly. DD. Zhang Wei. Combat power. Boom. The combat power detector modified by Bulma finally exceeded the upper limit and exploded. It seems that Bulma is going to continue to improve the combat effectiveness detector. Zhang Wei put it on his left eye and took it off and threw it away. 1 billion combat power is the upper limit of this combat power detector. The two began to fight. Almost immediately after meeting him, Gukong was beaten to death. After being fed a fairy bean by Zhang Wei, he became alive and kicking again. Son Goku. As promised, where can a Super Saiyan surpass my elder brother in strength? Zhang Wei. I didn't lie to you. The power of a Super Saiyan is indeed greater than my strength when I fought you at the 23rd World Number 1 martial arts tournament. I didn't say that it was greater than my strength. My current strength is Jia Jia Jia. Son Goku. Why is it so difficult to surpass Big Brother? By the way, to what extent has Big Brother's power increased now? After saying goodbye to Son Goku, Zhang Wei went to say hello to his wife Bulma. Wife, the combat power detector you modified for me last time is no longer enough. Please increase the upper limit again. No problem, hubby. Bulma was very happy to be able to help Zhang Wei. Because of Zhang Wei, Bulma has collected a large amount of energy data that exploded when masters fought, and built a model through the computer. You said you want Bulma to create an artificial human with hundreds of millions of combat power. Bulma will definitely not be able to do it. But if it's just a device to detect combat power, Bulma can do it if she has the skills. After kissing Bulma, Zhang Wei went to Dr. Gero again and showed the obedient cell to the old man. Zhang Wei, how did you do it? Dr. Gro, who was still troubled by the problem of the disobedient robots, asked very excitedly when he saw Shalu, who was respectful to Zhang Wei. Actually, I used a trick. Zhang Wei told the old man about Ginyu's body-changing superpower. I understand. Zhang Wei, you have long been considering using the special ability of the universe human Ginyu in the development of artificial humans. Dr. Gero said with bright eyes. From now on, he only needs to think about how to make the artificial people stronger and stronger. As for the headaches, let the androids never develop backbones. Just leave it to Zhang Wei to solve it. Mad, that's great. Inspired by solving the problem of controlling the control of artificial humans, Dr. Gero began to talk endlessly about the progress he had made in artificial humans. Experimental Eternal Energy Furnace. Practical Energy Absorbing Device. It can carry the above two new devices and a purely mechanical artificial human body. If it weren't for Zhang Wei's objection, Dr. Gro would still consider how to install the above two new devices through transformation on the basis of human beings. It seems that old man Dr. Gero is going to create androids 16 and 19 in advance. Zhang Wei said in his heart, His hands were not idle. He took out Cooler's tail from the system space and threw it to Dr. Grow. I'll give you a good thing. This is what I got, a universe man with strong combat power. The tail, I believe it will be very useful to you, Dr. Grow. Dr. Grow got Cooler's tail and immediately checked it with special instruments. He felt like he had found a treasure. With this universe human sample, I can develop the ultimate cell, ha ha ha. Dr. Gero laughed. By the way, how did you do with the biological device used to modify the human body that I asked you to develop, Dr. Grow? Zhang Wei asked, remembering the topics he had discussed with Dr. Gero before. Dr. Gero said with a smile on his face, with the technical experience accumulated in the previous development of Saru, it will be much easier to develop the biological device you conceived. So, is this why you look down on cyborgs? Dr. Grow, not everyone is willing to transform themselves into a half-human, half-machine ghost for the sake of powerful power. But my biological device is different. In essence, it is a life form that has a symbiotic relationship with the host. It can change the host's physique so that the potential of the people on Earth is not inferior to that of Saiyans. Although my biomorph is definitely not as powerful as a cyborg in the early stages, its potential is definitely far greater than that of a cyborg. Ha ha ha. Zhang Wei looked confident as a scientific madman and laughed at Dr. Grow. After all, Zhang Wei is not Florida, but he doesn't want to raise idlers either. Zhang Wei didn't want to see the situation where people on Earth were marginalized in the plot. Zhang Wei, I don't deny your fantastic ideas. I just don't understand why you only use Saiyan cells to develop biological devices that modify the human body. Dr. Gero asked in confusion. Because, what I want is enhanced Earthlings, not another group of cells. Zhang Wei replied. More than half a month later, Zhang Wei got the latest and improved combat power detector from his wife Bulma. A few months later, Zhang Wei obtained from Dr. Gero a biological device developed based on his ideas that could transform the human body. Then, summon the employees of the security department of the Universal Capsule Company, his younger brothers. Zhang Wei first looked at the fighting capabilities of Yamcha and Klin. To be honest, with Son Goku here, Zhang Wei didn't care about the progress of these boys. Didi, Yamcha, combat power 5500. Klin, combat power 8000. Tianjin Rice, combat power 4000. Dumplings, combat power 2500. Sharu, combat strength 500 million 4. Including Son Goku. This is all the people under Zhang Wei, the security director. As for why there is no Piccolo, Piccolo usually skips meals and just drinks a glass of water to get full. There is also the magic that can change clothes, and now even the cost of clothing is saved. Piccolo basically spent no money and scorned joining the security department of the Universal Capsule Company under the leadership of Zhang Wei. Dignified Piccolo Daimao, I am following you, planning to conquer the world, not working as a security guard for the company. Certainly, this does not mean that Piccolo can break away from Zhang Wei's guidance in cultivation. Brother, why did you summon us together? Yamcha asked, who had obviously slacked off in his training. Later, the distance between Tianjin Rice and Yamcha became closer and closer. I have an opportunity here that can make you stronger. Zhang Wei gets straight to the point and never talks nonsense. Everyone responded, and there was no excitement on their faces. It was obvious that they didn't take Zhang Wei's words too seriously. It wasn't Yamcha and Klin who suspected Zhang Wei. They absolutely believed that the elder brother must have a way to make them stronger. But no matter how strong you become, can you be stronger than your elder brother and Goku? Not to mention Big Brother and Goku, even the green-skinned Piccolo is much stronger than them. As for the one who finally joined the security department, the man named Shalu, the eldest brother's android subordinate, was already someone they could only look up to. After being hit repeatedly, Yamcha, Klin and others have vaguely realized that they are authentic Earthlings. They have no future at all. Chapter 51. Did you misunderstand something? When I say becoming stronger, I don't mean to make you stronger than you are now, but to have the talent to catch up with me and Goku. Zhang Wei glanced at the inactive atmosphere in the audience and immediately spoke impassionedly. What, can you become stronger enough to keep up with Big Brother and Goku? Yamcha, Klin, and the others immediately refreshed their spirits and felt their blood boiling as if they had just joined the martial arts. Brother, is it really okay? Yamcha asked, trembling all over. If he could see the hope of catching up with his elder brother and Goku, he wouldn't want to fall. After Zhang Wei gave an affirmative answer, he expressed his thoughts. Yamcha, Klin and the others looked at each other with reluctance. In the plot, it is clear that the design drawings of android number 17 have been obtained from Dr. Gero's secret laboratory, but no one on Earth is willing to let Dr. Breve and Bulma transform themselves into cyborgs. Gain power far beyond the initial stage of Super Saiyan 1. Zhang Wei didn't force it. If you make a decision, you can come to me at any time. While Zhang Wei's younger brothers were still hesitating, Bulma showed extraordinary interest. Unlike the Bulma in the plot, the current Bulma has tasted the sweetness of having powerful power. In another world, Piccolo Daimao was killed and became the savior. And after marrying Zhang Wei, the question also arises, how to adapt to the fact that my husband has tens of millions of fighting power. Honey, do you want to gain stronger strength through transformation? No problem. After Zhang Wei finished, he hugged Bulma and thought about it. He felt that even if Bulma had Super Saiyan level strength, her sharp nails could not break the defense on his back, so he agreed. After Bulma accepted the transformation, she stayed at home as a maid. The blonde Lan Chi, who was obsessed with the male master, did not want to lose to the hostess Bulma, so she also found Zhang Wei and was willing to accept the transformation. A few days later, symbiosis achieved. Since then, Bulma and blonde-haired Ranchi have the upgrade potential equivalent to that of a mixed-race Saiyan. After practicing for several months, whether it was Bulma or the blonde Lanchi, they could beat T-God and Krillin with one hand until their noses were bruised and their faces were swollen. Then, Yamcha, who had started to relax about martial arts, became enlightened and became the first person in the protagonist group who was willing to accept biological transformation. Yamcha took the lead in the charge, and other younger brothers who were originally coy and resentful of androids also approached Zhongfeng one after another to accept transformation. They all gained hybrid Saiyan talents. Only half a year later, everyone has made huge improvements. Didi, Zhang Wei, combat strength 19 million. Son Goku, combat power 26 million. Yamcha, combat power 66,000. Klin, combat strength 78,000. Tianjin Rice, combat power 60,000. Dumplings, combat power 49,000. Bulma, combat strength 52,000. Blonde Lan Chi, combat power 40,000. Sharu, combat power 600 million. Oolong, combat power 900. Pool, combat power 900. With the physique of a hybrid Saiyan, Yamcha and Krillin were finally able to use the Kaioken they originally learned from Chang Wei. Sure enough, it's not that Kaioken isn't easy to use, it's that people on Earth are really poisonous. At this time, Zhang Weidu could unceremoniously declare that the power he held in the hands of the director of the security department of the Universal Capsule Company on Earth had far surpassed that of King Frieza, who reigned supreme in the universe. If Zhang Wei had the intention to dominate universe, the current real estate developer Universe Emperor would be nothing. Humph, it's just relying on external forces that I gained great strength. There's nothing to be proud of. Piccolo on the side looked dismissive of everyone's choices, but in his heart he was extremely envious. Zhang Wei heard this and complained in his heart, Nanny, you are the least qualified to say that others rely on external things to improve their strength. How does Piccolo improve his strength in the plot? I understand everything. Now, Piccolo tried his best, but it only improved his strength to a mere 30,000 combat power. A few more months passed. Seeing that everyone was improving their strength like a new person, the arrogant Piccolo finally couldn't stand it anymore and approached Zhang Wei. I don't envy you for using external force to gain great strength, but in order to bring evil back to the world as soon as possible, I, Piccolo Daimao, cannot accept external force. Zhang Wei just looked at Piccolo and his performance with a subtle expression on his face. Just when Piccolo was looked at by Zhang Wei, his green face was about to be broken. Zhang Wei finally spoke. Piccolo, you are a Namekian. The methods I used on Yamcha and Krillin will not apply to you. After all, they all have to eat, but you only need to drink a glass of water. Piccolo was greatly disappointed when he heard this. But, Zhang Wei changed the topic. Since you sincerely want to improve your strength, then I will help you with mercy. When Piccolo heard this, his dim eyes immediately lit up, but he said arrogantly, don't overinterpret what I mean. I, Piccolo Daimao, just want to conquer the whole world as soon as possible. I am not looking for you just to improve my strength. Cut. Zhang Wei did not beep more with Piccolo, but took out an egg from the system space. This is what Bulma and I got when we were running business in another world. Piccolo took the egg from Zhang Wei's hand with a strange look on his face. I guess if you can give this egg to fusion, you will definitely gain extremely powerful strength. Zhang Wei had a very interested expression on his face. This egg is Piccolo from another world. At that time, when Bulma beat Piccolo Daimao to death, Piccolo Daimao spit out the egg before he died, but was intercepted by Zhang Wei. When Piccolo's strength exceeded 10,000, he took the initiative to ask for help. Zhang Weikai took out the egg and asked Piccolo to fuse himself into another world. Thinking about it, the effect should be better than that of Piccolo Fusion God in the plot, right? Piccolo didn't do ink either. Although he had a strange feeling about the egg, he still used his ability to fuse the egg. A strong airflow suddenly burst out from Piccolo. If it weren't for Zhang Wei's protection, Bulma's home, and even the entire western capital, would have been destroyed by the big commotion caused by Piccolo's upgrade. After Piccolo gained new power, his mood was very high. He felt that only one of them could fight Zhang Wei and Gokong. It can be seen how powerful this new power is. Ding, report to the master, there is a parallel world of Dragon Balls. I gathered 7 Dragon Balls and summoned the master. I said Tongzi, I now have a lot of powerful younger brothers, but every time I run a business, I am alone. Can't I be allowed to bring a few younger brothers to run the business together? Zhang Wei looked at Piccolo, who was already full of confidence, and said suddenly. Ding, based on the feedback from the master, the system has been revised. After being summoned, the master can summon 3 companions at will to help when necessary. Zhang Wei smiled with satisfaction. Tongzi, as always, loves his master deeply. After sending Piccolo away, Zhang Wei went to explain to his wife Bulma that he had business to visit and would be out for up to 24 hours, then he turned into a beam of golden light and disappeared. Another world. It's so devastated, it's like the end of the world. Most of the Earth's population has been wiped out by those 2 artificial human demons. Finally a savior appeared. He is a brave young man. Named Trunks. Trunks took the time machine invented by his mother Bulma to return to the past time and space, and obtained the design drawings of Android 17 from Dr. Gero's secret laboratory. After returning to the future world, Bulma recreated the controller that could shut down the android based on the design drawing of Android No. 17. Trunks used this controller to shut down the terrifying androids 17 and 18, then destroyed them and saved this broken world. Let the surviving people live a peaceful life again. But something happened that no one expected. Trunks was killed. His time machine also disappeared. Let's not talk about the grief-stricken Bulma. Before they could live a peaceful life for a few days, people in this world encountered another huge crisis. An extremely huge universe ship, comparable to an asteroid, suddenly landed on the Earth one day. The collision between the huge universe ship and the Earth caused an extremely violent movement and caused many casualties. An army from the universe announced to the people still alive on the Earth that the Earth has been occupied by them. A Namekian named King Slug became the new ruler of the Earth. King Slug is an evil Namekian. He is born evil and is in no way inferior to Piccolo Daimao. He also possesses powerful power that makes Piccolo Daimao eclipse him, but now he is old and has only a few days left to live. Just when Slag was about to die of old age, he got a Zhang Wei brand Dragon Ball from another world on an alien planet. Learned that by gathering all 7 Dragon Balls, you can summon a dragon that can grant any wish. Slug was overjoyed. Slag, who wanted to summon the dragon to restore his youth, relied on this Dragon Ball that accidentally fell into his hands, and led his evil army to find 5 other Dragon Balls scattered on alien planets. The reason why Slag came to Earth is because the last Dragon Ball is on Earth. After becoming the ruler of the Earth, Slag also began to transform the Earth in line with his wishes, but such transformation was fatal to the people living on the Earth. People on Earth are once again in a huge crisis. But this time no one can stand up to save them. Wrong. A mother who lost her son Trunks, Bulma bravely stepped forward again. With the help of Misto Satan, Bulma sneaked in without any danger and caught the opportunity for Slag to gather the 7 Dragon Balls and summon the dragon. On a ruined earth, there was lightning and thunder in the sky. It was as if the heavy oppressive feeling of the end of the world had descended on this apocalyptic world. It's really a black joke. Say your wish, no matter what it is, this dragon can make it come true for you. After Shenlong came out, he looked at the huge universe spacecraft not far away. He looked around again at the rapidly cooling environment and the remains of the buildings on the planet, then lowered his head and said to the Namekian standing in front of him, who was about to die of old age. Shenlong, let me. Before Slag finished speaking, he was interrupted by a woman's urgent voice. Zhang Wei felt that this woman's voice was very familiar, but she was much older. Shenron, let Trunks. The woman's voice stopped suddenly. With a sullen expression on his face, Slager didn't even look at it. He raised his hand and used a qigong wave to blow up the woman who was fighting for his wish. Okay, the people who were in the way have been cleared away, and Shenlong has restored my youth. Shenlong's mood fluctuated a bit at this time. He looked at Slag, who was full of expectation on the ground. For the first time, strong murderous intent flashed through his huge dragon eyes. Zhang Wei has understood. The woman who was beaten to pieces by Slag's qigong wave was Bulma. Although Zhang Wei also understood that this Bulma was the Bulma from the parallel world and looked very vicissitudes of life, not his wife Bulma. But watching Bulma get killed in front of his eyes, Zhang Wei was still uncontrollable, and he had a strong murderous intention in his heart towards the person who killed Bulma. If he hadn't been summoned by the 7 Dragon Balls at this moment, in the form of a dragon, Zhang Wei would have killed Slug and saved Bulma. Dragon. Seeing the hundreds of meters of dragon in front of him without any movement, Slag asked in a panic. He was afraid that Shenlong could not fulfill his wish to regain his youth, and then he would have to wait until he died of old age. It's very simple. Shenlong suppressed the anger in his heart, raised his dragon claws and snapped his fingers, fulfilling Slag's wish. No matter how unhappy he was, Zhang Wei could not even satisfy the death row prisoner's last wish. Slag has been sentenced to death by Shenlong. Ha 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 ha, I won't die of old age. Youth, my lost youth is back. After realizing his wish, Slag felt the long-lost peak of strength he had in his youth in his body. While he was excited, he didn't realize that this was actually just his last meal. Your wish has been fulfilled by this dragon. Farewell, brother shit. Shenlong waited for a while and watched as Slager regained his youth and was completely immersed in the ocean of ecstasy. There was no sign of crossing the river and demolishing the bridge. He turned into 7 golden rays of light and flew in all directions, hundreds of meters high. The dragon disappeared. Mrs. Bulma, at Slag's base camp, near the huge universe spacecraft, watching Bulma being beaten to ashes by a qigong wave from Slag, Misto Satan knelt on the ground and let out a helpless wail. Why are you howling? This dragon can bring Bulma back to life. An unhappy voice came from the shadows. Satan looked back and was immediately startled. He saw a 3-meter-tall blue dragon man walking towards him. Sir, please forgive me. I have no intention of confronting King Slug. I don't know Bulma either. I'm just a passerby. Please let me go, sir. Satan mistook Shenlong as Slager's subordinate. He was so frightened that he immediately knelt down. With tears and snot in his eyes, he banged, bang, bang, like a machine gun firing, as he knelt down at the 3-meter-tall blue dragon man in front of him. Got his head up. Shut up and do as I say. Tell me that you want to resurrect Bulma, or I will kill you now. The green dragon man said fiercely. I know, little one. Misto Satan climbed up from the ground tremblingly. Facing the 3-meter-tall cyan dragon man in front of him, he tremblingly made a wish to resurrect Bulma. It's easy. Zhang Wei snapped his fingers. How am I alive? And, Misto Satan, who is this handsome guy next to you? Bulma opened her eyes, got up from the ground, looked at Satan and Zhang Wei, who turned back into a human after his wish was fulfilled, and started chewing gum again, and wondered. First time we meet. I am Zhang Wei, the dragon that Slag summoned just now by gathering the 7 Dragon Balls. Zhang Wei faced the old Bulma and said politely. It's a completely different face than talking to Satan. Are you a dragon? Ah, when did you become human? Both Bulma and Misto Satan had shocked expressions on their faces. You said you were a dragon. After being shocked, Bulma's wrinkled face showed hope and surprise. Did you resurrect me, Shenron? Then, I take the liberty of asking you to resurrect Trunks to fight against this bad guy named Slug. Bulma pleaded with her face. Zhang Wei looked at Bulma with pity in his eyes. In fact, with Zhang Shenlong's current strength, even if Bulma makes a wish to resurrect the protagonist group headed by Son Goku, he can still do it. Even if the main characters have been dead for decades, Zhang Wei can still be resurrected to show Bulma. But since Bulma's wish is only to resurrect her unlucky son Trunks, then Zhang Wei will not look for trouble, he will only resurrect Trunks. Trunks, this Shenron will resurrect him. It's very dangerous here. Satan, take Bulma and leave quickly. I'll leave this place to this Shenron. Over the years, living in the apocalypse caused by artificial humans, both Bulma and Satan have developed extremely decisive characters. They just nodded to Zhang Shenlong with grateful faces, supported each other, and disappeared into the darkness. Middle. Brother shit is just a little Kalami. This trip's business has suffered a bit, so why not call Piccolo here and I can make up for some losses. Zhang Wei quickly made arrangements for Slag. If Brother shit kills Bulma in the future world, he will definitely die, but he must die in a worthy and valuable way, not in vain. Tongzi, there is no need to summon others, just bring Piccolo to me. Zhang Wei thought silently in his heart. Ding, order received. The next moment, Piccolo was transported to this world by Tongzi. As soon as he came out, he began to look around at the doomsday environment, and then looked at Zhang Wei in confusion, waiting for Zhang Wei to explain to him. Zhang Wei told Piccolo the whole story in a few words. You actually called me, Piccolo Daimao, to come over and be your thug. Snort. Piccolo looked very angry. But you were lucky, that shit guy, even I, Piccolo Daimao, can't stand his style. I, Piccolo Daimao, am the big devil to destroy the world. Who is he? He dares to come to the earth to destroy world. Have you asked me about Piccolo Daimao? Piccolo said with an evil look on his face. Stop beeping. Brother shit has discovered us, and his soldiers are already surrounding us. Zhang Wei reminded Piccolo. They're just miscellaneous soldiers. It's easy to eliminate them. Piccolo looked disdainful. You're right, so I'm here to eliminate these miscellaneous soldiers, and you go deal with brother shit. By the way, remember to be gentle when the time comes, and don't kill brother shit in one go, leaving him alive. He is more useful to you alive than dead. Piccolo's eyes suddenly lit up. You don't need to remind me, I know how to save his life and absorb and assimilate him. I'm very looking forward to it. Piccolo Daimao's evil power, after assimilating brother shit, will become how powerful it is. Ha ha ha, that's all. Piccolo went to deal with King Slag, while Zhang Wei was responsible for cleaning up the miscellaneous soldiers under Slag. Who are you? How dare you offend? Zhang Wei didn't bother to listen to the soldiers' last words, and just launched a criss-crossing wave of holes, killing all the soldiers, corpses all over the field, and their blood flowed into rivers. Done. Immediately, Zhang Wei flew in the direction of Piccolo. He wanted to watch the battle between Piccolo and Slug, the two evil Namekians. I didn't expect that on such a broken planet, I would meet people of my own race, and they are also demons with evil hearts. Today is really a good day that makes me happy and worth remembering. As a brother of the demon clan, you should seek refuge with me, King Shaluj, and follow me to do bad things. Quote. When Slag saw Piccolo appearing in front of him, his eyes suddenly lit up, and he smiled evilly and extended an invitation to Piccolo to join the gang. It was the first time that Slug encountered an evil Namekian until he was about to die of old age. Stop dreaming. I, Piccolo Daimao, will not become someone else's subordinate. Besides, the king of demons in this world only needs me, Piccolo Daimao. Piccolo had an evil smile on his face. Haha, you don't know how to praise me. If that's the case, then I, King Shaluj, will sentence you to death. Slug smiled cruelly. Two evil Namekians squared off and were about to fight. Zhang Wei on the side took out another modified combat power detector given by his wife Bulma to see the combat power of Piccolo and Slug. Didi. Slug. Combat power 1 million. Piccolo. Combat power 4 million. In another world, King Kai's evaluation of Slug is that his strength is far superior to Frieza's. Frieza's combat power is only 530,000. Just looking at it, Shilage's combat power is indeed far greater than that of Frieza. King. Shit brother, you are going to be finished soon. Piccolo laughed evilly with a confident look on his face. Fool, I'm not a shit guy, I'm Slug. Slug shouted in displeasure. Then the figure flashed. Appearing in front of the evil smiling Piccolo, his heavy punch was like a cannon being ejected from the barrel, hitting Piccolo's green face hard. No defense breached. Piccolo just looked at Slag with disbelief. This is impossible. Piccolo admired the expression on Slager's face enough, smiled evilly, and lightly punched Slager's green face. The beating made Slag scream, like a pedestrian who ran a red light and was hit by a car, spinning around and around in the air, and finally hit the huge Universe spacecraft, knocking the Universe spacecraft out of the air. There was a big hole, and sparks started to emit black smoke. Piccolo showed a satisfied smile with his current strength and flew towards the direction where Slug was knocked away. Boy, don't think that you will win just because you can knock me out, King Slug, with one punch. I was just careless and didn't use my full strength. When I go all out, you will die. With a scar on his face, Slag flew out of the black smoke-emitting Universe spacecraft, stood in front of Piccolo and said fiercely. While speaking, Slag's strong body also grew rapidly. Piccolo looked at Slag, who was getting bigger, and said with disdain, if you weren't still useful to me, you were beaten to death by me just now, and you can still beep in front of me. Zhang Wei, who was watching the show on the other side, spit out the sugar residue and said with a smile, the boss is about to transform. Unfortunately, no matter how he changes, little Kurami will be little Kurami, haha. Piccolo didn't have to wait long before Slug turned into a green giant comparable to the great ape of the peasants. Didi, Slug. Combat power 2 million enlarged. You can force me to use all my strength, even if you die, you should feel honored. With more powerful power, Slager said to Piccolo with a hurt face and arrogance. Is this what you call going all out? Piccolo looked disappointed. What a waste of my time. Watch me trample you to pieces. Slag gritted his teeth. With a powerful aura, Slag stepped down on Piccolo on the ground. Piccolo blocked it lightly with his left hand, and Slager's big foot couldn't step on it no matter what. Even though Slag's veins were already popping out, he couldn't step down with his foot. Then Piccolo waved lightly, and Slager felt like he was struck by lightning. His huge body seemed unable to withstand it. The little Piccolo's power caused him to fall back, making a big noise. It's over. Piccolo didn't give Slag any more chance to show off. He jumped on Slag's body and kicked him on his big head, knocking Slag into shock on the spot. Next, Piccolo began to enjoy the fruits of victory. He put a hand on Slug's chest and assimilated Slug. Aha! An extremely powerful aura suddenly burst out from Piccolo's body and swept across all directions. Even the entire earth seems to be trembling because of Piccolo's burst of breath. The movement ends. Piccolo opened his eyes, full of surprise. He really didn't expect that assimilating Slug would actually make his power grow to a level that far surpassed his previous one. Piccolo at this moment looked down on the world. Even Zhang Wei and Gukong no longer take them seriously. Didi, Piccolo, combat power 1 billion. Zhang Wei, for the sake of your guidance all along, I can allow you and Son Goku to become my subordinates, Piccolo Daimao. Piccolo fell in front of Zhang Wei, his cloak was filled with wind, and his nostrils were pointing towards the sky. Zhang Wei just wanted to laugh. Nanny, you start to forget yourself when you have some strength. It seems that you need me to give you a little shock to re-recognize yourself. The next moment, Zhang Wei transformed into a humanoid divine dragon, his whole body burning with golden arrogance. Didi, Zhang Wei, combat power 9.5 billion, transform into humanoid dragon, transform into Super Saiyan 1. Feeling Zhang Wei's breath at this moment, Piccolo's face turned green with fright. If he were a human, he would have been so frightened that cold sweat would continue to flow from his crotch. It's terrible. Could it be that this is all your power? Piccolo said in horror. Zhang Wei said honestly, I haven't opened 20 times Kaioken yet. Haha, I was just joking with you, don't take it seriously. Piccolo's expression changed and he suddenly smiled. You know how to joke, Piccolo, you've made some progress. Zhang Wei smiled and patted Piccolo on the shoulder, and ordered Tongzi to send Piccolo back. 12 hours later, In the ruins of the western capital, Bulma's home. Zhang Wei said to Bulma, who had wrinkles at the corners of his eyes, although Slug has been eliminated, it does not mean that your world is safe. Slug is just a little Kurami. If Trunks is still there, you can kill him with one finger. In the future, there will be greater crises that will come to this world. Listen to my advice. After I resurrect Trunks, you can follow me to my world, I can keep you safe. The time and space where Trunks was killed was the time and space of despair, and only Bulma was left among the protagonists to die. In the future, because Majin Buu is sealed on the Earth, Babidi and Dapora will come to the Earth to unlock Majin Buu's seal and set off a new round of global catastrophe. Even if we can survive Majin Buu's rebellion, there will be a more terrifying Black Goku Zamasu in the future who will come to the Earth to cleanse mankind. Facing the big bosses one after another, Bulma and Trunks will be unable to resist even if they are weak. Seeing that Bulma was his wife, Zhang Wei would advise Bulma, who was desperate in time and space, to run away with him. But Bulma declined. Zhang Wei, I changed my mind. I don't need to resurrect Trunks. I want to change my wish. The strong Bulma thought for a moment and said to Zhang Dashenlong. Zhang Wei seemed to see Bulma's plan and nodded slightly, yes. This dragon can make any wish come true for you, future Bulma. Zhang Wei deliberately said, any wish can come true for you, very seriously, but Bulma didn't seem to take it seriously. So, then, my wish is. Bulma paused and said with hope, please resurrect all the kind-hearted people who have died since the artificial humans began to destroy the world and after Slug occupied the Earth. After saying that, he looked nervously at Zhang Dashenlong, whose expression remained unchanged. Rejoice, I am the one who realizes your wish. If it were the Earth Dragon or the Namek Dragon, your wish would not come true. Zhang Wei looked at Bulma with a smile. It's very simple. Regarding resurrection, which can be called Shenlong's main business, Zhang Shenlong is definitely much more powerful than any other Shenlong. Not to mention those who died of illness or died of old age, or even those who have been reincarnated. As long as you make a wish, you dare to say it. Zhang Dashenlong dares to realize it. Mother, the resurrected Datu hugged Bulma who was in tears. You don't have much time, so get ready to fight the next wave of invaders. After exchanging a few words with the resurrected protagonists, Zhang Wei faintly sensed the powerful evil aura coming towards the Earth and the universe, and frowned. Once the 24 hours were up, Zhang Wei could only return to his Dragon Ball world with blessings for the desperate time and space. Anyway, he has left a Dragon Ball projection in this time and space. If there is a problem with the protagonist group of Despair Time and Space, Zhang Wei can just come forward to solve it himself. When his wife Bulma asked, Zhang Wei told her what happened in that world. Zhang Wei just hid the part about Trunks and had no interest in talking about Date. It turns out that I am so strong in the midst of the apocalypse. Bulma couldn't help but sigh after hearing what happened to her in the other world. I am also very happy in my heart that with Zhang Wei's existence in my own world, I will not live as miserable as myself in another world. A few months later, Dr. Gro used Cooler's tail cells provided by Zhang Wei to recreate a more powerful cell of embryos. Through computer predictions, this artificial human, which Dr. Gro calls Ultimate Cell, will look like the original cell after it develops into an adult body. But there is still no tail for absorbing humans. Absorbing humans in the plot was too scary, so Zhang Wei deliberately made the Cerule not grow a tail that could absorb humans. Anyway, with the rabbit's superpower, Zhang Wei's Shalu can eat elegantly, and it won't be as scary as in the plot. Dr. Gero asked Zhang Wei to take the embryo to the spiritual time room for cultivation. In less than a month, a dark green humanoid bug covered in black spots was born. As always, Dr. Gero's characteristic is that the artificial humans created are powerful, but mentally poisonous. This ultimate cell, after pretending for a while, felt that his wings had hardened, and then grew back bones. If Zhang Wei hadn't noticed in time and teleported again, Dr. Gero would have been turned into a carrot by Ultimate Cell and eaten. Dr. Gero said in shock, Zhang Wei, I failed again. This Ultimate Cell is also disobedient. I leave it to you to deal with. Zhang Wei nodded. Still the same routine. Recruit the Piccolo Daimao clone, spit out eggs, and hatch a small Kalami green skin. Then use Ginyu's body-changing superpower to change the body of the little Kurami green skin with Ultimate Cell. Final touches. A wave of Qigong turned Ultimate Cell, who had turned into a green-skinned little Kurami, into a humane destruction, leaving no trace behind. Your name is Xilu. Zhang Wei knelt in front of him, his face full of respect, and said the new ultimate Sharudao. So the security department of Universal Capsule Company added a new employee. Didi. Xilu. Combat power 350 million, first level. After almost being turned into a carrot and eaten by Ultimate Cell, Dr. Grow had a psychological shadow on the development of artificial life form androids, and began to focus on mechanical androids. It didn't take long. Dr. Gero developed Android 16 based on his deceased eldest son. He also developed Android 19 based on his only good brother during his student days, a short fat man. Certainly, in this world where Zhang Wei intervenes in the plot, the two mechanical androids newly developed by Dr. Gru were not originally called this name, but at Zhang Wei's suggestion, Dr. Gru gave them the same names as in the plot. Android 16 is equipped with an eternal energy furnace and has a combat power of 800 million. Android 19, equipped with an energy absorption device, combat power 90 million initial. After the two mechanical androids have been running for a while, Dr. Gero discovered that number 16, who had lost so much weight in vain, turned out to be an artificial man who didn't like fighting. He is silent all day long, and only smiles when he sees flowers and plants. Although the combat effectiveness of number 19 is far inferior to that of number 16, it is a barely adequate assistant for Dr. Grow's research work. His attitude towards Dr. Grow is considered respectful, but when it comes to his interests, he is quite insistent. Even Dr. Grow has to compromise many times. Either discuss it with No. 19. But overall, Android 19 is already the most obedient compared to other artificial humans developed by Dr. Grow. If there was no Zhang Wei, Dr. Grow would definitely seal up number 16 and make do with No. 19. But Dr. Gero knew that Zhang Wei had the superpower to change bodies, so he thought of letting Zhang Wei replace the cores of number 16 and number 19 with obedient little green skins. Sorry, Dr. Grow. Number 16 and number 19 are both pure mechanical bodies, and my body-changing superpower is ineffective on them. However, you don't have to worry. It's hard to tell on the 19th, but you can absolutely trust him on the 16th. As long as you treat number 16 well, number 16 will not ignore you when you are in danger. Quote. This is the advice given by Zhang Wei. The android number 16 in the plot is a good partner who loves nature, hates violence, is basically harmless to humans and animals, but is trustworthy in critical moments. Dr. Gero had always been convinced of Zhang Wei, so he gave up the idea of sealing No. 16. Although number 19 engaged in bargaining during the execution of Dr. Gero's orders, Dr. Gero's personal safety was guaranteed as long as number 16 was around. Even if something goes wrong, don't forget who Zhang Wei is. He is a divine dragon. Resurrecting a dead person is as easy as Piccolo drinking a glass of water. Because Zhang Wei exists in the world, life has become dull. In ordinary daily life, Zhang Wei and Bulma had their children. They are a pair of children. Sister Zhang Lihua, younger brother Zhang Shu. Because Shenlong is unique, it cannot be passed down to the next generation. Zhang Wei could only choose to pass on the other outstanding bloodlines he had to his next generation. And in the world of Dragon Ball, which bloodline is better than a mixed-race Saiyan? All right, there must be bloodlines that are better than mixed-race Saiyans, but Zhang Wei doesn't like being a father to children who don't look like humans. Then, Zhang Wei's children, just like Son Goku and Chi-Chi's children, were born with an extra monkey tail behind their buttocks, no different from ordinary humans. Grandson Goku and Chi-Chi's child was born after Zhang Wei and Bulma's child. He is called elder brother and elder sister, and he is the youngest. Just like in the plot, Son Goku named his child Son Gohan in memory of his grandfather who was accidentally trampled to death by his big foot. Because of the two adults, the three children have played together since childhood and have a very good relationship. In the ordinary, time came to 761 AD. A clear day. A small universe spaceship, like a metal ball, rushed into the Earth like an uninvited guest. It hit the ground like a meteorite. With a violent movement, it created a large crater on the ground and filled with dust. Such a big movement alarmed a nearby farmer. At this moment, the farmers were still afraid of the cause of such huge commotion. Otherwise, he would not, so he picked up a shotgun at home and walked toward the location of the loud noise with a vigilant face. When the farmer walked over to check what was going on, he found a large pit on the ground with a metal ball inside that was still steaming. Could it be that this is a metal meteorite? The farmers were thinking this way. With a sound of metal starting up, the metal ball actually opened a door, and a man with wild long hair, wearing armor-like clothing, a monkey tail wrapped around his waist, and an evil look on his face walked out of the metal ball. The farmer was shocked and immediately aimed his shotgun at the strange man. Who are you and why did you come out of that metal ball? Raditz, who came to Earth, didn't even look at the farmer who was pointing a gun at him, but thought to himself, is this the planet Kakarot was sent to when he was a child? The environment is not bad, and he should be able to sell a good price. Then he turned his attention to the nervous farmer who was holding a gun and kept asking him questions. Raditz frowned. What's going on with Kakarot? The indigenous people on this planet haven't been cleared yet. He raised his hand and pressed the combat power detector worn on his eyes to see the strength of the local indigenous people for evaluation. DD, Earth natives. Combat power 5. Tisk, I thought Kakarot was so strong that he couldn't clear out the local natives. But this is the result of his combat power. They are just scum with a combat power of 5, and they are quite weak. Has Kakarot fallen asleep these years? That's why he hasn't finished cleaning up these scumbag natives. Raditz said, very dissatisfied. If you don't speak, I'm going to shoot you. The farmer looked at the weirdo in front of him, thought what he said was fart, ignored him, and felt very unhappy. He warned the weirdo again, and when he saw that the other person continued to ignore him, he shot the weirdo in displeasure. Bang! A bullet was fired at Raditz, but Raditz caught it casually, rounded and flattened the bullet and threw it away. Monster! Seeing Raditz's performance, the farmer was frightened. It was the first time he realized that there were people in the world who were not afraid of guns. A scumbag who dares to provoke me, Mr. Raditz, is seeking his own death. Raditz looked at the trembling farmer with disdain on his face. He fired a qigong bomb and left the poor farmer dead. Where the farmer originally stood, only a smoking pit remained. What happened that prevented Kakarot from clearing out these scumbag natives? Only by finding Kakarot can we find out. Raditz thought for a moment and pressed the combat power detector again with an evil look on his face. The natives on this planet are all very weak. It seems that the person with the strongest fighting ability on this planet can only be his younger brother, Kakarot, who was sent to this planet since he was a child. Let me see, where is Kakarot now? DD. There was a lot of data flashing across the screen very quickly, in just a few seconds. Boom. Raditz's combat power detector is an old model combat power detector that comes standard with Frieza's Legion, with a maximum combat power of just over 20,000. Outstanding. Raditz's face was full of surprise. What the hell, my combat power detector actually exploded. Could it be that there are masters with more than 20,000 combat power on this planet? Subsequently, Raditz's eyes turned to the big pit where the farmer had been before. The surprise on his face disappeared, and an evil look took over his face again. Haha, you are worrying too much. On this planet, these scum-like natives can have masters with a combat power of more than 20,000. It should be that my combat power detector is malfunctioning. If I had known that this combat power detector would malfunction, I should have replaced it with a new combat power detector and come back to this planet to find Kakarot. Now, the combat power detector is broken. How can I find Kakarot, my brother? Raditz looked troubled. Since the Saiyan's hometown was taken away by the king, the Saiyans now only have 3 or 2 kittens left. Raditz's boss, Vegeta, felt that every Saiyan nowadays was a non-renewable human resource, so he asked Raditz to come to Earth and send his brother Ka, who had been sent to Earth since he was a child, to clean up the local indigenous people. Carrot was brought back and worked for Vegeta. But actually, Goku was sent to Earth because his father, Bardock, realized that the king was going to do harm to the Saiyans, so he sent the infant Goku to Earth for refuge. Vegeta and others did not know the real reason why Son Goku was sent to Earth since he was a child. They just took it for granted based on the customs of the Saiyans that he came to Earth to clean up the indigenous people. Raditz followed the order of his boss Vegeta and came to Earth to find Kakarot. In fact, Time was very tight, and Vegeta could not allow Raditz to spend a lot of time looking for Kakarot. Raditz must find Kakarot as soon as possible. Go back and report to the boss Vegeta. If Vegeta thought that Raditz was fishing on the earth, he would be miserable. Raditz was afraid when he thought of the cold and ruthless style of the boss Vegeta. By the way, I can destroy the largest city among the local natives. Think about it, as long as Kakarot is not dead, he will definitely receive the message and come to find me. Raditz smiled, feeling proud of his intelligence. Then, Raditz began to destroy the cities of Earthlings without restraint. I think back then, Piccolo Daimao's combat power of just 260 could make the whole world lose their temper. Now, with Raditz's combat power of 1500, he is free to do whatever he wants on Earth. After Raditz's destruction, the Earth's Dog King naturally got the report and immediately sent troops to fight Raditz. After the king who rules the world gives an order, countless fighter jets flew across the sky. There were groups of tanks on the ground, running with their gun barrels raised, raising dust that covered the sky and the sun. Boom! The fighter dropped bombs on Raditz. The tank's muzzle flashed and the shells were fired at Raditz. Raditz laughed. To him, they were just scumbag locals struggling in vain. Unscathed, looking at Raditz slowly walking out of the dust raised by the explosion, the army commander had only one mood at the moment. Pill. The next moment, Raditz's face was full of evil intent, and he launched a powerful Qigong wave. Whether it was a fighter jet flying in the sky or a tank running on the ground, they were all destroyed in the explosion that shook the earth and the mountains. Ha ha ha, Raditz laughed wildly. It was so satisfying, he just liked this feeling of invincibility. Even if he is invincible, it is just a group of fighting scum. What should we do? God, someone come and save us. The Dog King in the capital, after hearing that he had sent out an army to fight and that all his troops were destroyed in the shortest time, he fell on his throne with despair on his face. Temple. The gods and Mr. Popo are also paying attention to Raditz, who is acting recklessly on the ground. Mr. Popo, someone is destroying the world. That dragon Zhong Wei, what is he doing now? The god asked anxiously. If Zhong Wei hadn't closed the spiritual link with the god long ago, the god would have informed Zhong Wei when Raditz killed the Zonwuscum peasant. Lord God, Zhong Wei is busy with a big thing now. Mr. Popo said with a dark face. The god immediately asked, what happened? How could the whole world be in greater danger now? Zhong Wei is throwing a party for his son and daughter to celebrate their 5th birthday. Mr. Popo said helplessly. God, Western capital. Bulma's house. Happy birthday to you. In the festive and lively atmosphere, after singing the birthday song, today's protagonist, Zhong Lihua and Zhong Shu's sister and brother blew out the candles on the birthday cake together. Then, everyone started eating and drinking. Everyone was there, including Piccolo, who usually didn't get along with the others. Piccolo actually didn't like the atmosphere of birthday parties, but after being persuaded by Zhong Wei Heshen, he went along with it, attended the birthday party, and gave him the clothes he had conjured with magic as a gift. Zhong Wei's 2 children, I, Piccolo Daimao, came to Zhong Wei's birthday party for his son and daughter, just for your sake, Gohan, and definitely not because I, Piccolo Daimao, was threatened by that guy Zhong Wei. Sitting in a deserted corner of a party, Piccolo drank a glass of water through a straw and said to little Gohan at the same time. Probably due to the inertia of the plot, Piccolo, a green-skinned man, doesn't kiss anyone in the protagonist group, not even Zhong Wei, who has been guiding him in training. Piccolo is not friendly, but he is very kind to Gukong's son, Xiao Gohan. In Zhong Wei's words, the cold-blooded green skin took on the nanny attribute after seeing little Gohan. Little Gohan just sat obediently across from him, listening to his uncle Piccolo's nagging, while showing an expression of, I understand everything. Gohan, so you are here, go play with me and my sister. A little boy with cake crumbs still on his mouth ran over and called little Gohan away. The party is in full swing. Everyone, watch TV, there's an emergency news break. Klin suddenly shouted, causing everyone at the party to turn their attention to the TV that no one was watching. On the TV, an announcer with a frightened face broadcast the news that Raditz was wreaking havoc on the earth in a tone of doomsday. At the same time, there are also shots of Raditz destroying the city and wiping out the army, which were risked by frontline reporters. Raditz, Zhang Wei, who was having with his wife Bulma after sending the little devil away, looked at the man with long hair and an evil face who was showing off his power and invincibility on the TV, and then he remembered there is also such a number one expression. Husband, how come that guy on TV has a monkey tail just like Goku? Bulma followed Zhang Wei's gaze towards the TV and asked with surprise. Bulma wouldn't be surprised if someone has a monkey tail. To her surprise, the person with the monkey tail was a person she had never seen before. Honey, the one who is destroying the city is also a Saiyan and is Goku's brother. Zhang Wei smiled at Bulma. So Goku has an older brother. Bulma suddenly realized and smiled. Since he is Goku's brother, it is outrageous to let Goku deal with Raditz and dare to cause destruction on my territory. Zhang Wei said to Bulma again, you ask Lan Chi to call our dog king in the name of the security department of Universal Capsule Company and ask him to pay for peace. Although dealing with Raditz is not even easy for us, the money must be collected and the dog king cannot be allowed to develop the bad habit of getting something for nothing. As for how much to charge, I believe my wife, you have an idea. Quote. Zhang Wei originally had the idea of collecting protection fees from the dog king to generate income. But there has been no opportunity, mainly because Zhang Wei is not short of money. The matter of collecting the dog king's protection fee was not done. Now, through Raditz's incident, the dog king's protection fee has been collected. Zhang Wei actually doesn't have a very good feeling about the dog king. He feels that the dog really doesn't know what to do in the plot. Starting from Piccolo Daimao and continuing to Majin Buu, when the world is facing the crisis of destruction, the protagonist group steps forward to fight the evil and powerful boss to save the world. But every time the world is saved, the Dog King doesn't even know who saved the world. He even attributed the credit for saving the world to Satan. You can be forgiven for saying you don't know who saved the world in the end. After all, the protagonists in the plot are all low-key, indifferent to fame and fortune, and are pure martial artists. But it would be funny if you don't even know whether Satan is capable of saving the world. A boss that can't even be defeated by a group of tanks, a boss that can only break a few bricks with bare hands, can the so-called world martial arts champion handle it? Let Satan dismantle a tank with his bare hands first. And not only King Guzi, but other people on Earth also behave like fools about who saved the world. So Zhang Wei doesn't want to spoil these fools. If he wants to save the world, just take the money. I know it well, husband. Bulma was worthy of being the daughter of the richest man in the world. She quickly calculated in her mind how much money King Dog should charge to buy Pinyin based on the total assets of the Magnum Capsule Company. Goku, have you seen the news? Go and get rid of the guy who is causing damage. Zhang Wei said to Son Goku, who was busy eating delicious barbecue. Brother, that bad guy is too weak. Can't you let Oolong and Pool go? Okay, I'll go right away. Son Goku saw his eldest brother's face becoming serious, and immediately swallowed the remaining barbecue in two mouthfuls, wiped his hands randomly, and headed in the direction of Raditz. Move over instantly. Zhang Wei really had nothing to say about his younger brothers like Son Goku, and he even taught him teleportation. If you can learn it, you can learn it. If you can't learn it, you can make a wish to Shenlong to get skills. Today's protagonist group has one person who can teleport. Ha 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 ha. In a city where explosions occur one after another, Raditz is happily wreaking havoc. The next moment, Son Goku was close to him. Because Son Goku suddenly appeared in front of Raditz's eyes, Raditz was shocked. Kakarot. Raditz took a big step back in fright, looked at Son Goku, his eyes instantly heated. You are here to find me. Because Son Goku looked exactly like their father, Raditz recognized Son Goku's identity as his younger brother Kakarot the first time he saw his appearance. Huh, how do you know that I will come to you? Son Goku was about to kill the bad guy Raditz when he heard this and was stunned. Raditz looked at the face of his younger brother and his father Bardock, and said, Kakarot, you don't know yet, right? I am your eldest brother Raditz, and you were sent to this planet since you were a child. The Saiyans came to clean up the local indigenous people. Let me ask you, why haven't you cleaned up the local indigenous people after so long? Kakarot, it seems that I heard this name somewhere many years ago, but I can't remember it. Son Goku showed a thoughtful expression. Forget it, if I can't remember it, I won't. By the way, you are Raditz. When did you become my eldest brother? I only have one eldest brother, Zhang Wei, and I don't have one. Such a badass brother like you. Raditz looked furious. You stupid brother, you don't even recognize your elder brother who is related by blood, but you recognize a local scumbag native as your elder brother. It really embarrasses our fighting race Saiyans. Let me, my eldest brother, wake you up, my stupid doo-doo. Raditz punched Son Goku with a sudden punch, which made Son Goku look stupid. He was not as brave as other Saiyans at all. He punched him with such a stupid face that made him angry. Facing the heavy punch from Raditz, Son Goku felt that he was slower than the old turtle and had no interest in dodging. Raditz punched Son Goku in the face before he could continue preaching. You are too weak. If it weren't for Big Brother's request, I wouldn't even be interested in taking action against you. But I can't let you continue to cause destruction on the earth. So, I will bring you to Big Brother, let the elder brother punish you. Son Goku said to Raditz, who looked in disbelief. Originally, Son Goku was going to kill Raditz, but because Raditz mentioned the words, Kakarot, and, I am your big brother, Son Goku changed his mind and decided to give Raditz a chance. Son Goku suppressed Raditz's full resistance with one hand, moved in an instant, and went back to find Zhang Wei. Zhang Wei saw that Son Goku had captured Raditz alive, and it didn't matter. Whether Raditz was dead or alive, at Zhang Wei's level, he didn't care at all. Since Son Goku did not kill Raditz, Zhang Wei accepted Raditz. Since Mr. Bei can clear his name and go ashore, why can't Raditz? After Raditz was captured alive by Gukong, he was frightened. He had realized that his stupid brother was much stronger than his big brother. After meeting Zhang Wei and others, I was shocked. Because Raditz had a misunderstanding. He regarded Zhang Wei and the rest of the protagonist group as Saiyans. Just because the people around Zhang Wei were transformed into mixed-race Saiyan blood in order to pursue talents and potential that surpassed those on Earth. And Raditz discovered to his dismay that he was useless. Raditz in the Saiyan gang headed by Vegeta. Now, in the Saiyan gang headed by Zhang Wei, on Earth, he is still useless to Raditz, who cannot be beaten by anyone. After Zhang Wei guided him and made his strength improve by leaps and bounds in just a few months, Raditz's awe for Zhang Wei, the new boss, exceeded his awe for Vegeta in more than 10 years. After easily solving the crisis of world destruction caused by Raditz, Bulma made a wish to Zhang Shenlong to resurrect all the kind-hearted people on Earth who died in the destructive activities caused by Raditz. Even the destroyed city was restored. The Dog King also paid Zhang Wei a sum of money to keep him safe according to the huge amount offered by Bulma. After seeing the power of Zhang Shenlong, the Dog King felt that instead of spending a lot of money to raise a useless army that would only be beaten alive when needed, it would be more cost-effective to pay a protection fee to Mr. Shenlong. When Raditz was on Earth, he accepted Zhang Wei as his boss. In the universe, Frieza's Legion, an advanced base planet. Vegeta and Nappa completed the task assigned by the king to clean up the natives on a planet with a good environment. The two started talking in the break room. That useless guy Raditz, haven't you contacted him yet, Nappa? Vegeta asked with an annoyed look on his face. Sorry, Vegeta, I haven't contacted Raditz yet. Nappa said apologetically. There is no need to contact him anymore. Maybe Raditz has died on that remote planet. Vegeta sneered. Nappa was surprised by Vegeta's conclusion. It's impossible, Vegeta. Although that guy Raditz is useless, he only has a combat power of 1,500, but according to the data of Frieza's Legion, that remote place called Earth, the natives on the planet are extremely weak. Just send a soldier from Frieza's Legion to clean up the natives on that planet. How could Raditz die on such a scummy planet? Vegeta crossed his arms on his chest and looked at Nappa coldly. Are you questioning me? Don't dare, Nappa said in panic. Humph, you'd better not dare. Vegeta sneered. Whether Raditz died on that scum planet, let's go over and take a look, and we'll know, right? Vegeta, King Frieza's mission? Nappa asked carefully. Reluctance and hatred flashed in Vegeta's eyes. Nappa, don't forget, I am your boss and the prince of the Saiyans. You only need to obey my orders, not Frieza. After a pause, the calculation flashed through Vegeta's eyes. Of course, after we go to the remote planet of Earth and find the whereabouts of Raditz, we will clean up the natives on that planet and remove the planet is sold to Frieza. Even if Frieza comes, he won't say anything to us. Quote. I'll get ready right now, Vegeta. Nappa said respectfully. Looking at Nappa's back as he walked out of the restroom, Vegeta withdrew his gaze, looking forward to the trip to Earth. At this time, Vegeta didn't care at all whether Raditz was dead or alive. Vegeta has only one motive for going to Earth. The natives on the Earth are all scum, but Raditz disappeared on such a remote planet with weak combat capabilities. Let me ask you, is this abnormal? Vegeta is very interested in the reason why Raditz lost contact. Maybe, if the reason for Raditz's disappearance is found on Earth, Vegeta can gain unexpected benefits. It is not impossible for him to be stronger than Frieza and replace Frieza in dominating the entire universe. Vegeta is a rebellious and proud Saiyan prince. But to Frieza, Vegeta is like a dog, and he will bite whoever he is told to bite. Even if you feel wronged, you have to hold it in. Vegeta has had enough of Frieza's humiliation to him, and he desperately wants an opportunity to change his destiny. Even if it's just an uncertain opportunity, Vegeta doesn't want to miss it. Just because, at this time, Vegeta has no hope of defeating Frieza. No matter how much Vegeta has grown, Frieza's strength is still like an abyss in his eyes, unfathomable. It didn't take long. The two spherical universe spaceships left the Frieza Legion's forward base planet and flew towards the Earth. And when the two Saiyans rushed to Earth, the protagonist group on Earth, Zhang Wei, his wife Bulma, and his two children continued to enjoy life in the bustling city. Others are practicing tirelessly for one goal, which is to catch up with their eldest brother Zhang Wei. 1 year later, Vegeta and Nappa came to Earth. The two spherical universe ships hit the ground hard, which was regarded as a greeting to the Earth. Near a city, two huge pits appeared. In the deep pit are two spherical universe spaceships. With the slight sound of mechanical operation, the hatches of the two universe ships opened, and Vegeta and Nappa walked out of the universe ships. Vegeta, this is the Earth, let me see what kind of strength the local indigenous people have. Nappa smiled evilly and pressed the combat power detector worn on his eyes. DD, Earth natives. Combat power 5. HMPH. Just this little fighting power. The natives on this planet are really scum. It's unbelievable. No matter how useless Raditz is, it's impossible to lose contact on such a scummy planet, right? Nappa said a little strangely. Because of this is why we came to Earth. Nappa, say hello to the local indigenous people and tell them that Saiyan Prince Vegeta is here. Vegeta crossed his arms across his chest and said with a proud look on his face. Hehe, I'm planning to do this even if you don't tell me, Vegeta. Nappa showed an excited and cruel smile. He flew into the sky and launched a Qigong wave towards the city of Earthlings not far away. Look, what is that in the sky? Some people on Earth discovered that strange things were flying towards them from the sky. Many people stopped, they were busy doing something, and pointed at the strange things in the sky. Little did he know that death was coming. Boom. The next moment, amidst the earth-shattering explosions and under the violently expanding mushroom cloud, that city with a large population was wiped out. Looking at Nappa's expression, it seemed as if he had done something as trivial as pouring boiling water on an ant's nest. Vegeta, I have already said hello to the local scumbag natives. Nappa smiled at Vegeta. Vegeta just nodded. Nappa, you did a good job. Now that the hello has been said, it's time for us to get down to business on this remote planet. Vegeta, how should we find out the reason why that useless guy Raditz disappeared? Nappa touched his bald head with his big hand. He was not a person who was good at using his brain to deal with things. This is not simple. If you find the person with the highest combat effectiveness on the planet and ask him directly, won't you know everything? Vegeta said with an evil smile. He pressed the combat power detector he wore on his eyes. DD. Boom. Within a few seconds, the combat power detectors on Vegeta's eyes exploded with black smoke. My combat power detector actually malfunctioned at a moment like this. Vegeta took off the rag that was still smoking from his eyes, threw it on the ground, and said with an unhappy look on his face. Nappa, use your combat power detector to find the person with the strongest combat power on this planet. Okay, Vegeta. Nappa also pressed the combat power detector on his eyes. DD. The result was just like Vegeta's combat power detector, it exploded. What's going on? Could it be that both combat effectiveness detectors are malfunctioning? Vegeta looked shocked. It seems that is indeed the case. My combat power detector is also malfunctioning just like yours. Nappa said immediately. Use your brain, how is this possible? Maybe, we have found the reason why that useless guy Raditz lost contact. An excited smile appeared on Vegeta's face. This is impossible, right? On this remote planet, with these scum-like natives, are there really masters with a combat power of more than 20,000? And Raditz was killed by a master. Nappa was shocked when he heard this. He only has a few thousand combat power. If he really encounters a master with more than 20,000 combat power, he will not end up worse than Raditz. I hope everyone will support it and subscribe more.